we are going to give it to the minister, okay? We are going to ensure the minister gets it, and Honorable Minister, because I don't want to give you an ambition just one day. On Tuesday, okay? You come back and you respond to these issues. Yeah. Thank you, Honorable Minister. Honorable Cooper, please, let's move on. Honorable colleagues, in the public gallery this afternoon, we have a delegation of project staff of Guru Guru Child and Youth Development Center, bracket UG 1040 from Crack, South County, Amuru District, represented by Honorable Oranya Gilbert and Honorable Akero Rusi. They've come to observe proceedings of this house. Please join me in welcoming them. Thank you. Thank you for coming. Of course, such a heavy name would only come from Gilbert. Okay. I had allowed the procedure. Can you just wait?
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I raise on the procedural issue over the matter of the Employment Amendment Act that we passed in Parliament in May, in the month of May 2023. I have heard in corridors that the bill was returned, but the rules provide for how the bill that is returned from the president is presented to the members. It is either through reading the issues that the president has raised or through the gazetting of those details. I've tried to look around. I've reached to the legal department. They don't have any information. I've talked to the committee. They don't have any information. And you may recall, you engaged us, the private members, and the Ministry of Gender to merge that bill. And I think I'm a key stakeholder. I would like to know how we are progressing, and I'm appealing to you to get us the details to know how far we have moved. Thank you.
Thank you. I also visit the corridors. There is some information in the corridors, and then we build on that, and I'll get back. Honorable Kamuntu Moses.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I rise on a matter of national importance regarding impassable roads, Rwanda District, especially my constituency, Rwanda West. Right Honorable Speaker, we have a UNRWA road that is covering entire county of Bufundi, surrounded by the Lake Bunyonyi, and that road has been abandoned by UNRWA for the last 5 years. Now to access Kashash sub-county, I must pass Katuna, go to Kashash sub-county, covering 100 kilometers instead of 10 kilometers from Rwanda Council. All of the roads, we have 15 gorilla groups in Rwanda West. All of them, roads are cut off. And you know, these groups fetch a lot of money on a daily basis. And I wonder how the government can abandon such a lucrative business. My prayer is the Minister of Works. I write to him every day, and he's good at reminding me. What he tells me is no money. I've visited UNRWA offices, they say there's no money. So what should I tell my people?
Thank you. No, of the people you've mentioned, you've not mentioned your colleague from Rwanda East. Okay, but government, on a minister for money. Yeah. Your neighbor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And the honorable neighbor speaks for me because I can no longer now express some concerns here. However, Mr. Speaker, what is happening in Rwanda is the same situation happening across the country, and it is occasioned by nothing else but the constraints in cash flows. Mr. Speaker, this notwithstanding, we have, as much as practicable, tried to manage the emergencies wherever they occur. That road of Katunamuko, it is true, it has not been maintained for some time. I was not yet notified. It has gone to an extent of being cut off. I am going to check if that is true. The money for handling that emergency can be found immediately.
Thank you. Thank you, Honorable.
Mr. Speaker, lastly, I also wish to inform my brother, Honorable Musa, and the people, our people in Rwanda, together with Katuna, where Bahati comes from, that road is one of the roads we have provided funding for tarmacking. And the process, clarification from my friend, the Shadow Minister of Finance.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I want to thank the Honorable Musasi for giving way. The clarification I am seeking, if the Honorable Bat can allow you to listen. You have said if there's an emergency, money can be released immediately. So now all risky emergencies in our constituency, because you have said if there's an emergency, that money can be found immediately. That's the clarification I wanted.
No, but Honorable Minister, please, this is my time. It was just a minute response. This
Mr.
should be the
Speaker,
last one.
It's a good, actually, the front bench, once it accepts our clarifications, the House moves on very well with your guidance, Mr. Speaker. I think.
Seungu, that is indirectly taking over.
No, with your guidance,
Please,
Mr. Speaker,
just
sir.
you're the final one.
Mr. Speaker, the issue of saying that they have managed emergencies is unprecedented. And I would pray that the minister says that at least they have tried. In Kalungu, we have a road from Gomba through Chamuliwa, where Katonga broke, and people are using boats to cross a river. And the best evidence is the Honorable Minister next to you on your right. He can tell you because that was his constituency. Also, he crosses using a boat with these vehicles and the lady cars. So if you talk about trying emergencies, these members of Parliament, Mr. Speaker, have always raised matters of national importance, and the results are not they are not yielding. So I would pray, Mr. Minister, sir, that maybe say you are trying, but in actual sense, you are not trying. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, we are trying, and we have provided 570 billion to handle the emergency at Katonga. And the work is going on. Mr. Speaker, my last point was the Katuna-Muko road is one of the roads which we have provided funding for tarmacking. And I want to thank this House for passing.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Colleagues in the gallery this afternoon, we have students of Kitumba Child Development Center, Bukori County Central, Bujiri District, represented by Honorable Saranyi Solomon, Commissioner of Parliament, and Honorable Taka Agnes. They've come to observe proceedings of this House. Please join me in welcoming them. Thank you. Thank you. Honorable Kwizera Wagahungu. After Honorable Eddie. Okay.
I am not talking about tourism road, right, Honorable Speaker.
No, I'm saying I'm talking to Kibadi.
I am raising an issue of national importance about the tea sector. Sometime it directed that the tea sector be looked into, and the Minister of Finance came here and undertook and promised that people would be paid And even those who had the seedlings were allowed to supply with the view that they will be paid in the preceding year, which is this financial year. And secondly, they promised that there would be a tea policy to regulate the tea sector because there is no tea policy. But because of those inconsistencies, right, Honorable Speaker and colleagues, now the tea sector is faced with a challenge because people are not paid, they have lost properties, and those who have factories, the cost of power and maintaining the factories is so high that they are now shutting down the factories. And even those people who had planted tea, they are threatening to cut it down. So my prayer is that can't we have a tea policy in place? Two, can the minister expedite payment of these unpaid bills because they are affecting the economy? I thank you.
Honorable Minister for Finance.
Mr. Speaker, we allowed some discount that we pay them when the government realizes resources. The commitment, Mr. Speaker, is still there. However, we are experiencing the situation where cash flows are a challenge. And what I can say for now, in the future, when the cash flows are realized, we shall settle the obligation.
Honorable colleagues, we are going into budgeting. Okay. Let us look at how best we can prioritize this issue. Because handling it now here, we won't do much the way we are putting. Honorable Kibadi, I had allowed you.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, my procedural matter was related to the answers from the Minister of Finance in relation to the neighbors issue. Right Honorable Speaker, this morning we had discussion and we are coming to your office because the situation has gone beyond, because you heard the minister saying that they will always intervene in emergencies. But that can only be true those who are his neighbors and those who can access him. There are several issues. All these MPs you see here, Right Honorable Speaker, they are suffering with the poor state of roads in their areas. What is very disappointing, Right Honorable Speaker, when the Minister of Finance released the money, he could release zero for road maintenance. Ministry didn't get money, but he could afford to release 180 billion for renewal of national IDs. We wonder which priority they considered. So we wanted to come to your office, Right Honorable Speaker, to request to intervene directly in this issue. Kindly to invite the concerned stakeholders. Maybe the minister could listen to you, these other people, so that we find a way, because there is no way you can provide zero and you have money for other areas. So we request your office, as you have always intervened in some of these areas that are very sensitive, Right Honorable. We discussed it this morning. We are coming to your office. So we are requesting you to pick interest, intervene, and see how best you can save your MPs. Thank you, Right.
Thank you. First, wait a bit. This is an issue we handled yesterday when we were discussing the budget framework paper. The same issue came, and the Minister for Finance on record and promised that they are releasing more money for those entities, including roads, in February. Minister, do you want to reconfirm that I got you right? Because this was yesterday.
Mr. Speaker, you are absolutely correct, and I have nothing to add.
Okay. Yes, Honorable Sarah, on the same.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, on the floor of this House, we have discussed the issue of the road fund. The road fund was not, that act was created for a purpose, borrowing a leaf from how other countries have been able to have very good roads and well-maintained roads. And Right Honorable Speaker, the Ministry of Finance was hiding under the constitutional provision, which the Attorney General, I'm glad you were in the seat when the Attorney General clearly guided that funds created by an act of this House, by Parliament, are protected and are not part of those. I mean, the funds cannot go to consolidated fund for as long as there is an act that covers it. Right Honorable Speaker, there is nothing that we can do in this country without roads. To reach the health centers, you need roads. To reach schools, you need roads. To promote agriculture, PDM, everything, you need roads. Right Honorable Speaker, the Minister of Finance, after requesting for time to go and discuss the matter with Cabinet, came here and actually indicated that they were going to handle the matter. To date, Right Honorable Speaker, we are still talking about the same challenge. If you had had the fuel levy in place, the 100 shillings per litre going to the road fund, inclusive of the other fines, we would not be talking about this, lack of funds for districts. And yet we have, there are other roads. We sent 1 billion shillings to the districts. It's not adequate. But we have the sub-county roads, Right Honorable Speaker, that are now in the worst state because there is totally no funding to actually maintain them. So, Right Honorable Speaker, I want to urge you, unless we operationalize the road fund, all of us, 2026 is near. What are we going to tell our people? In my district, people are protesting. The Nagongera Road has been an issue since 2000, when His Excellency, the President, pledged to tarmac that road. There are those roads which are supposed to be pre-financed, Right Honorable Speaker, where the President okayed UNRWA to allow them, to allow contractors who have money, pre-finance, and government would pay them later. Namutumba Navumali Butaleja Road is one of those, which would cover the Tororo Nagongera Road. We also need to know what happened to those roads.
Thank you, Honorable.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker.
Now, honorable colleagues, and whenever we talk about the road fund, I look at Honorable Nathan Byanyima, who was a champion, who has done a fantastic job. There is a time I just look at our minister, just look them in the face, and I see the dilemma they are in. I see, and you find the minister really is stuck, because he sat down and he said one day, if all these funds which were passed are operationalized, what will remain in the consolidated fund?
We do no longer have cases of funds returning to the consolidated fund because the votes don't receive money. Every money you pay, Mr. Speaker, if you didn't know, I see all the expenditures government makes. Even if we pay Karim through parliamentary commission, I will see that EFT if I want to see. So parliamentary commission does not close the day with the money on its account. It is never there. We only receive invoices and pay on your behalf. I thank you.
Thank you. Honorable Minister, I want the record of Parliament to be clear. And really, I love how you're open to engaging us. Sometimes we even push you into a corner, but you remain sober because you have the brain to engage us. The honest thing is that you never concede. Yeah? But please, there is a clarification I want to go on record. And the chair, the committee can't mislead this house when I'm here. Okay? The money which the Honorable Minister has talked about, that it's unforeseen. You know very well, we have items we reject in the budget, which were foreseen, and they are returned under 3%. That's number one. Number two, when you are coming, what you seek here, you come through a supplementary, whether it is prior approval or retrospective approval. It's a supplementary. The only way, Honorable Chair, the authority, the authorization you are asking here, Parliament to give, is supplementary. You're saying we should allow them to spend this money under supplementary. We have not stopped them. There is no new authorization we can give under the law beyond supplementary, which is provided for under the PFMA. Okay? It's very clear. If I've made it very clear. I've said it is either prior, which is beyond 3%, or retrospective, which is within 3%. But the principle is it's a supplementary. So which other form do you talk of authorization beyond the supplementary that is not provided for in the law?
Right Honorable Speaker, I would like to reflect the wisdom of the committee when we discuss this matter. And we restricted it to donor-funded projects, UGIFT and USMID. Why? The money, the funds for these projects are not related to the Uganda Revenue Authority projected funds. They are funds that are available. So, and we think that since these funds are available and contracts have been made, monies should be released. And then the minister comes and reports so that they are not disrupted during the end of the financial year. Yes.
That is 3% supplementary. It already provides for it. Tell me, Honorable Chair, what I wanted to get, under what arrangement? Tell me, because it's a law. I just want to understand, backed by what law, under what law? The only way we give money, we authorize government to spend is through the appropriation bill. We appropriate either directly through budgeting, direct budgeting, or supplementary. Which other appropriation and a form of appropriation that is there?
Right Honorable Speaker, the committee is open to engagement, but I'm only telling the House and Right Honorable Speaker that the observation we made is meant not to disrupt the process of the projects for whose funds are available. And the supplementary is based on unforeseeable and unavoidable. And these projects, in our opinion, were foreseen and and running. Thank you.
Now, let me make it very easy for you, Chair. Okay, that the supplementaries we have been approving here have both foreseeable and unforeseeable. That's projects you saw, we didn't appropriate money for, and you give them money. Yes.
Mr. Speaker, this is an interesting engagement. Mr. Speaker.
In fact, Honorable Minister, what I'm saying, you already have permission.
Yes.
We gave you permission. That's what I'm saying.
Mr. Speaker, I agree with you. Some of the monies of the items we pass here for supplementary are foreseeable, but they become unavoidable in that we could have foreseen something, but we don't have the money at that point. A case in point is NAM. When we approved NAM, we knew we wanted NAM, but we didn't have the money. And we reached a point, NAM had to take place, and we had to construct that hall you saw and other things. Therefore, it became unavoidable in the process of budget execution. It was foreseen, yes. Therefore, that test doesn't qualify, but it became unavoidable and it qualified under the 3%.
Okay, to make it very easy, Honorable Minister, you will give us proposals on how you want Parliament to give you authority to spend such a money. And I will see whether you will go outside the supplementary. Yeah. The proposal should come from government because they are for spending to be in line with Article 93 of the Constitution.
Mr. Speaker, Karim, are you an accountant of some sort? Okay, if you are, I give you.
They know each other. They are friends. I know. they know each other. They are both accountants. I'm sure you are just putting his legs, so let's not try to.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Chair, Right Honorable Speaker. To comfort the Honorable Minister, I'm an economist with a bachelor's in quantitative economics from Makerere University and a master's of arts in economic policy from York University in Toronto. So I believe I am fit enough to assure the minister. So to get back on the point, the clarifications that I need from the minister are two. One, he talked about limiting the accounting officers to spend the money that we have. But with certainty, I'm certain that the accounting officers only spend on the monies that they have been told to spend. The warrants that the issue. So how I need clarification from the minister, because like they released the ad of the 4.9 trillion, they have told the accounting officers, go ahead and spend this. So there is no accounting officer who will spend 20 billion when he has been given authority to spend 10 billion. So how were you suggesting us to do it? Probably you'll guide on that. Secondly, okay.
Mr. Speaker, in the 4.9 trillion, we have informed accounting officers that this is the limit you have to spend in this quarter. But we have not told them, spend this. After we have issued this, we expect them to warrant, ask for authority to spend. We shall give them authority to spend based on cash, based on the cash available under the single treasury account.
Thank you. So MEP Kona.
I had to the second one.
No, that's not how we operate. Clarification now, he's off the floor. So it's no longer on. I pick Honorable Bigaros, I pick Honorable Roran, Ndio Mujenyi, I pick Honorable Chivumbi Hadasmi Ari, I pick Honorable Santa, I pick Honorable Ririan, and Haji, and Honorable Pendi, and Ogwar. Then
thank you so
sorry,
much.
I'm going to give you a chance, Honorable colleagues. This is a sensitive matter. I'll give you a chance.
Yeah, thank you so much, Right Honorable.
But I just wanted to make a ruling on only one issue so that we don't waste time on it. On the recommendation by the committee, okay, of us around finance, that is against Article 93 of the Constitution. That is a charge on the consolidated fund. It can't come from us. That is only for government. It is only government. When government feels it has to do that. Article 93, sub-article 2, the imposition of a charge on the consolidated fund or other public fund of Uganda, or the alteration of any such a charge otherwise than by reduction. This is only restricted to government. It cannot be from us here. So that one is, the chair, we shall have to amend that at the right time when a member proposes. So let's just
thank you
close
so
it.
much, Right Honorable Speaker, for your wise guidance. Right Honorable Speaker, the committee addressed itself clearly on UGIF and USMID, but they have forgotten about Dr. Deep. It's a very huge donor funding in mostly refugee hosting districts. Actually, we are seeing a lot of light in Terego because of Dr. Deep. So each time you're talking about donor funding, kindly remind yourselves about Dr. Deep, because Terego suffered a lot of setback on the Dr. Deep funding. Most of our projects almost collapsed, but I want to thank government that we are given a window for 6 more months. I also want to thank you for the recommendations you've made, but I want to say that remember areas like the elderly SAGE. As you have funding that may be lying and you don't know where to put it, kindly know that we have elderly people who have not been taken care of, they have not been paid. Unless we think about them, most of us are now clocking that age, or we have parents who have reached that age. It's a set time bomb. Thank you so much, Right Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Rose. Honorable Roland.
Thank you so much, Right Honorable Speaker. Thank you so much, Chair Finance, for the report. I would like to address two issues. Number one, you talked about the other projects, YouGift and USMID, and the non-wage balance, which was 358.9 billion that was not spent at that financial year, at the end of that financial year. You didn't tell us what if you investigated further to understand, because you said it was because of staff which are not yet recruited, and therefore there was a balance of 358.9 billion. So you didn't tell us if you went further to interrogate this figure. Second, Right Honorable Speaker, in the audit report of the financial year 2021-2022, the Auditor General said there was 1 trillion which was in commercial banks from URA. URA sometimes collects, okay, most of the time collects money through commercial banks. And by end of the year, sometimes that money is not yet transferred to the consolidated fund. The chair needs to tell us if they went further to understand that relationship between commercial bank balances through URA and then the consolidated account, because there is that money also towards the end of the financial year that is unspent and untransferred to the consolidated account. Last, Right Honorable Speaker, thank you.
Conclude.
The issue of money, the cash available vis-a-vis the warrants needs to be investigated further. The Honorable Minister tried to elucidate it, but you see, a warrant is an approval for you to spend. Therefore, if you allow me to spend, that means I will incur an area, which when I'm going to pay, finance will say there is no money. But you told me to spend, you gave me a warrant to spend. So we need, as a Parliament, to get that clear, very clearly, so that we cure the issue of accumulated areas. Thank you so much, Right Honorable Speaker, for the opportunity.
Thank you. Honorable colleagues, I had picked you in your order. Honorable Paparu.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, I want to thank the committee for the elaborate report. I have a comment. There was a comment that they made about the accounting officers, the changing of accounting officers. I am in the Committee of Local Government, PAC. There are sometimes when we go to verify the Auditor General's report in the districts or entities, you find within one financial year, there are 3 accounting officers that are changed. One covers 3 months. You come, another one is there for 4 months. You're getting another one within 2 months. So probably the responsible ministry should look into that, because accounting is becoming a problem with that. Right Honorable Speaker, the last monies that are warranted towards the end of financial year, some accounting officers have become so smart that they connive with the contractors and advance monies. They just write a cover letter that the bank should not make these contractors use this money. And these are the monies we have realized when the financial year begins that are actually misused. They are not used for the relevant purposes for which they are meant for. So the ministry should look into that and see those accounting officers or entities that make local arrangements to advance these monies. On USMID and YouGift. Right Honorable Speaker, the clustered contracts, they are contractors that are given so many projects when they don't have enough resources. So you find the whole of West Nile, they add a Acholi sub-region to it, a contractor or 2 are doing these activities. And these monies are the monies that are swept back. And in the next financial years, these monies come towards the end of financial year again. I think this is what we debated about warranting of monies. I know we can budget over, but I cannot believe that you can warrant what you don't have. That one we cannot accept as Parliament. So let's look into that. Thank you.
Thank you. Honorable Pendi.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, I want to thank the committee for the report, and I want to really appreciate that this matter of the unspent funds is being discussed in this Parliament. It has been an issue, and a big one in our districts, where you find that even where, you know, we have vacancies, we have money for recruitment, but unfortunately, sometimes for political reasons, people are not recruited. We have districts where even positions were being kept for sons and daughters of some people that they were still in school, so they could not recruit. And the money is returned. Yes, the money is returned. We've had such cases, Right Honorable Speaker. And the Karamoja region, you remember this was even a big issue in one of the districts in Karamoja. But also, Right Honorable Speaker, some of these unspent monies are also as a result of, I don't know whether it's professional negligence on the part of the technical officers. When you look at most of the Auditor General's reports, when we are considering these reports, the entity reports, you find that some of the funds are returned because of inaction by the technical officers. Look at issues of procurement. A district knows exactly what it needs. And we have always urged them, why don't you start the procurement process early? Don't commit. But when the funds are finally released, then you process. But you find that they wait until maybe April, that's when they start a process. And these processes are actually lengthy. So that, of course, is a disservice to the people in these districts. Right Honorable Speaker, when you look at the table on page 5, we have been talking about the Treasury single accounts and funds swept the consolidated funds. Under USMID, Right Honorable Speaker, in this table, all unspent funds on the Treasury single accounts, after reconciliation, the balances on the Treasury single accounts are returned or swept to the consolidated fund. The Forex, the same. But when you look at unspent funds on donor-funded projects, and this is where the USMID and UGIFT come in, it's very clear here. It's stated that these are maintained in respective project accounts for appropriation and utilization in the subsequent financial year. So, Right Honorable Speaker, the funds actually remain on the account. They are not swept back like the other ones for the consolidated fund. So, Right Honorable Speaker, I want to agree with the committee recommendation on page 9, which states that in order to ensure that the unspent warrants by donor finance projects like USMID and UGIFT, Parliament should give the minister authority to release the funds in July, the donor project funds whose appropriation expires on 30th June. The minister can then report to this House after 1 month. Yes, through the supplementary, and that should fall under Schedule 1. So, Right Honorable Speaker, that to me sorts out the problem. Because really, if the money is not swept back into the consolidated fund, why are we having all these problems? We've looked at some of the projects. Chair, I sit on the physical infrastructure.
But Honorable Sarah, have we denied him authority? That's a question I just wanted to know.
No, I think the minister, I think we should whip the minister to do their work.
Yeah, we have not denied them any authority.
Yeah, because now, if by the time this comes here, then there was an issue. So, Right Honorable Speaker, I think the ministers are not doing us. Right Honorable Speaker, I don't know if I should give the minister to give information, or we allow the minister, because under the USMID falls under them. So let me conclude, and then the speaker will allow you. I have requested.
I'll allow you to submit substantive.
So, Right Honorable Speaker, I think there were some proposals on these unspent balances, that if there are projects that were actually planned within a district, or for example, staff that have not been recruited and the district really wanted to recruit them, but even advertised and failed to get them in time. Like we have the challenge of doctors, we have the challenge of engineers. Some districts advertise, they fail to attract. But in the process, you know, towards the end of the financial year, maybe they are able to even attract or get somebody. It is, I think there was a proposal, and I want to agree, that such districts, this money should be sent back in the next financial year, as could have been detailed by the districts, other than denying them and they have to start all over again, you know, pleading and requesting, going through the public service, district service, public service commission. Some of them, they cannot employ because they don't have the district service commissions. So, Right Honorable Speaker, I thank the committee for the report.
Maybe Honorable
but a road needs to be done on these unspent funds. Yes.
I think if you could have, if we could have proposed an amendment, say we urge the Minister of Finance. We urge the Ministry of Finance to give these projects a priority. Okay, when they are considering supplementary schedule one, like you put it.
Okay, thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, considering that these funds for the donor projects are not swept back to the consolidated fund, I want to amend the report by recommending.
You propose.
We propose that we amend the report to include specifically that the Minister of Finance does prioritize the donor funded.
You can take time to look through it. You can take time to look through it. You draft it very well.
Okay.
Yeah, then we support you. Haji. Now, I had picked some members, but I've seen they are members of the committee. So members of the committee, rules don't allow for debate, but you can only speak through. No, a clarification either comes through when a minister is on the floor, or your chair allows you when he's on the floor. Yeah, otherwise, you know, our hands are tied. Haji.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. I want to thank the committee for the elaborate report they have submitted on the floor of the Parliament. Right Honorable Speaker, I want to give my comment on the issue of procurement. There have been delayed procurement processes that have made the projects to lag for long, not to be implemented. For example, I want to bring the example with one of the projects from my district. A project which covers Koboko, Yumbe, Moyo, that Hiroji project. It is under World Bank. Since we came to this Parliament, the process of the award of the contract has been on procurement. Up to now, it's still there. And the bulk of this money is supposed to be given by the World Bank because of the big number of the refugees who are hosting there. You try to imagine now. 2.5 years, the procurement has not been done. What is likely to come? Don't we think that such a project can even be, the World Bank can be able to withdraw the money because of taking long in order to give the procurement processes? So we really want to argue that our procurement process should have to expedite the needful so that the projects are done within the required time limit. Thank you.
Thank you. Honourable Minister.
Are you the one who implements the sense?
Procedure.
Mr. Speaker, this parliament censored this particular minister. I have known parliaments and I've followed parliaments. In fact, in the past, every minister censored would go away and maybe is considered in the next day. But you can't censor a minister and then you give the same. I am quoting parliament. I don't have to quote the law. We are the one who censored you. So the procedure issue I am raising is whether you are allowing that to speak as a minister. In that case, you will be going against, or we will be going against the resolution of this parliament, or you are allowing her to speak in her personal capacity as an MP.
Thank you. Honorable colleagues, of course, it's on the records of Parliament. Parliament passed a resolution making a recommendation to the president. Parliament does not implement. And the law we have does not give a timeline in which the president must implement the resolution of Parliament. So he might be wanting to implement it tomorrow, and I start denying his minister chance. Or he might have taken other measures because it doesn't specify. So please, just let's focus on what you wanted to say, Honorable Minister.
Thank you, Right Honorable, for your guidance. I have been wondering why Honorable Semuji was removed as the opposition chief whip, but now I have seen. Right Honorable. Right Honorable Speaker, I want to thank you for your guidance. To my colleague, the Minister of State for Finance, because the information I wanted to give, and Honorable Sarah said you will allow me to speak, is that we have debated this issue of unspent funds, which are always swept back into the consolidated fund, and they remain there and you don't even hear about them. And again, another financial year starts. And His Excellency, the President, guided that then immediately we finish the budget, let these funds be what? Taken back. And as you guided, Right Honorable, there is no law which is stopping finance, the Minister of Finance, from spending. And I liked when you were asking him questions, who has stopped you? On the issue of Will Smith, I work in the Ministry of Lands. Will Smith money has been there. The local governments did procurements. Money was released by World Bank. World Bank has been here several times asking why have we as government refused? And we engaged finance. The last time they came to cabinet, they said, no, this money is available. Actually, immediately after the budget, the ministry is going to have the money spent. Municipalities were given this chance of having municipal roads and what. So when you say, when you were really repeatedly asking him who has denied him the authority, he did not answer, this colleague of mine. And so, exactly. The problem is with us.
Cabinet in session.
As you said, the law is clear on what should come to Parliament and what shouldn't. Funds carried forward. Why do you come? And they were within the budget. I don't know what is coming here to say, because the law is clear. So that's the information I wanted to. And I like when you guided that Honorable Sarah should move a motion. Not what did it to say? To request or what? Is arguing, instructing, because there is nothing like arguing. You know? They know their job clearly, and they have put us in a very complicated situation. Municipalities are frustrated, and World Bank is frustrated, and they are withdrawing this government, these funds, because they are tired. They have been here for several meetings. So really, my colleague, I'm sorry, but the law is clear, and it's you who is not doing your job. I beg to submit.
Thank you. Honorable Minister for Finance, you've had the sentiment. No need to respond.
No.
Or you feel you need to?
Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, not to respond per se, but to bring confidence to this House that whatever we do in as far as managing public finances is concerned is done in accordance with the law. There is nothing we do, Mr. Speaker. I was here when the Public Finance Management Act was enacted. I was also here before the Public Finance Management Act. Mr. Speaker, I think I've made my point that what my colleague is saying, that under which law, the law that guides us in managing public finances is called the Public Finance Management Act, and everything we are doing is in compliance with that law. I submit, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Now, I think what I got from your colleague, Honorable Minister, she didn't say you're breaking the law. You get it? She said there is no law stopping you. Yeah, there is no law stopping you, okay, from making these projects a priority. That's what she said. Yeah. So, okay, Honorable Minister, I think what you've picked are the sentiments is that your colleague is frustrated because meeting the World Bank every day, people are putting you on pressure. We are borrowing expensive money. These people have given you concessional money. They are saying implement these projects. So I think, Honorable Minister, I know sometimes the challenges you have, but I would urge you, you look at these projects, you give them a priority. Let's go back. We give them a priority. UGFT, USMID, Dr. Deep, these donor-funded projects. Because money is available, we gave you a leverage under the law, so let's implement them. Honorable Kambari Ferigo, then I come to Chief Whip, I'll give you, then Honorable Santa, then Honorable Aisha.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, I want to thank the committee for the report they have presented to us. And the Right Honorable Speaker, my observation is that the chairperson of the committee was trying to be polite because he mentioned reasons why we had huge unspent balance as per 30th June 2023. He was polite. He didn't want to sound a bit harsh. One of the reasons he gave was that during the financial year 2021-2022, we had donor funds which were unspent balance. But in the execution of the financial year 2022-2023, these funds are supposed to have been reverted. What finance did was to bring that reverting after 10 months. Therefore, by 30th June, that balance had not been spent. In other words, he was saying, Minister of Finance, you should have brought this money for reverting immediately after closure of the other financial year. He was just being polite, but he was trying to tell us, you people, be aware that your Minister of Finance is not doing his work. So on this matter, Right Honorable Speaker, we want to request the Minister of Finance. He's saying he's doing it according to Public Finance Management Act. Public Financial Management Act requires that he should do reverting, which he delayed to do. He did it after 10 months, and therefore that money could get out of those accounts. Secondly, Right Honorable Speaker, again, the chair was polite by saying the reason why we don't have unspent balance is there's delay in procurement process. He's again sounding polite. He's telling us accounting officers are not doing their work of ensuring procurement process is executed in time. He's again telling us Minister of Finance is not doing its work. They are the people who appoint these accounting officers. How comes there's deliberate delay in procurement and they are doing nothing? So thank you, Chair Finance. You are polite, but you are telling us our finance minister is betraying us. We're having huge unspent balances because of his delays for voting, not taking action on accounting officers who are not doing procurement in time. For me, I'm saying, as Parliament of Uganda, please, I recommend that, although the chair was not serious, we should put it in record that Minister of Finance, you are causing us problems. That's why we have and spend balances and improve your way of doing things. Otherwise, we shall come with a motion for censure here. The next day, we can't keep in this circus. I beg to submit.
Thank you. Honorable Santa.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, the minister himself said the problem or the issue that we have is about budgeting and planning. And he alluded to the fact that there is poor planning. I was really very happy when you accepted that, and you are going to correct that. And he went on to say that the budgeting is based on assumption. I would like to really request and advise that don't overshoot. Let the assumption be minimal. That is one, Mr. Speaker. Secondly, Right Honorable Speaker, the Minister of State for Public Service is here. And when you look at the report of the committee, we keep on having a ban on the recruitment. At the same time, government provides some money to the extent that 49% is out of wage of the warrant. Madam Minister, when will this ban end so that we really stop seeing this kind of clumsiness on our budget? Then finally, Right Honorable Speaker, when you look at the report, right from page I think 5 on local government through up to page I think 10, you see that first page 9, the factors contributing to unspent warrants. Number 3, late approval of expenditure leading to late release of funds. Mr. Speaker, this is a very serious issue. I remember at one time, I was with my district local government. We requested, but for the Ministry of Finance to approve this request was a tug of war. So, Right Honorable Speaker, when you look at all these factors, 1 up to 7, and leading to the recommendation of the committee that future projects like YouGift and YouSmith should be decentralized. Mr. Minister, what is your comment about this? Should we go to this decentralization? That is on page 10. I beg to submit.
Thank you. Honorable Aisha, then Honorable Gilbert Oranya.
Thank you so much, Right Honorable.
Mutemburi, then Honorable Kero.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I join colleagues to thank the committee for this report. Honorable Msasizi has done a lot to mislead the House, especially when he discounted Honorable Semuju's argument that we should always depend on the expenditures that we have had, money spent in the previous years to project what should be in the budget. And he said we depend on realistic budgeting, as though when we make assumptions, we don't use trends. For whoever has done basic economics, you know, you need trends to inform your assumption. And if the trend has been pointing to particular expenditure, like for example, every time we have not hit 50 billion as amount of revenue collection and others, you cannot say we shall have 56 billion the following day. So I think Honorable Musasi was not right to discount Honorable Semuju's argument, because Honorable Semuju's argument is putting us back on course. Right, Honorable Speaker, the issue of unspent money. I don't know why this House does not demand, and I pray that colleagues will accept to bring this amendment. We demand that the Minister of Finance brings a statement to this House 2 weeks into the new year on unspent balances. Because we know there are unspent balances, we appropriate funds, and we keep on saying we don't know how much money this is. How can a house that appropriates not be knowing the balances that we have on the previous years? So, Right Honorable Speaker, allow me, if I can bring the amendment now, to propose to colleagues that among the recommendations, we add that the Minister of Finance shall bring a statement on unspent balances 2 weeks into the new financial year. So I'll move. Let me move for my.
Isn't it a requirement under the law?
What I wanted to ask, where I need your guidance from, is whether the recommendation by resolution of Parliament can amend the existing law. No. Because under the law, we are supposed to finalize accounts by 30th of September.
So that's a guidance I wanted Honorable Aisha to get. It's already provided for under the law.
Right Honorable Speaker, my communication is to the extent of informing members how much money was actually unspent and returned to the consolidated fund. By close of the financial year, by the budgeting process right now, the amount is not known because expenditures are still going on. But by close of the financial year, finance will know exactly how much money has been unspent and has returned. And we only seek to get information because like it seems even members on the budget committee keep on saying, where is this money? How much is it? So the submission to that extent is for Parliament to get information.
Mr. Speaker, thank you, Honorable Aisha, for giving way. We are saying the financial year closes at 30th of June. At that point, we know how much money we have closed with. But there is cash in transit. There are transactions in transit, which materialize after 30th of June. When these occur, we do a reconciliation. And on 30th of September, we issue accounts which show the closing balance and the opening balance for the new year. I would like to understand from you, Honorable Aisha, where is the problem?
Okay, Honorable Repel.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. I just wanted to add on what the Honorable Minister said. Actually, government practices what is called cash accounting. So post some other practices of accounting that are done. Now, in such cases, you only report on the cash you have actually spent. So that's how we report in government. For that matter, just at the cutoff period or the cutoff date of the 30th June of a particular financial year, you can determine just the way the minister said there's some cash in transit. So that's why there's a period of about 3 months that we give finance to carry on the reconciliation until at the end. However, if it was accrual accounting, we would make a cutoff exactly on the 30th June for reporting purposes, including receivables
and payables. So that's the reason why we do that. So I would like to allay your fears that that's the reason why we do this. I also want to allay the fears of this house and also the citizens of this country that what is very critical in budget implementation is going beyond what you're provided for. Actually, one area that I was so critical when we're analyzing, when we're investigating this is to see whether there's any MDA that has gone beyond the warranted amounts. Fortunately, there was nothing. All of them were within the amounts that had been warranted. And that was very good enough. So for that matter, I would be very fair to say that actually, as the minister said, the implementation of the budget is very realistic and is according to the laws and the provisions of the accounting practices. Thank you.
Right Honorable Speaker, the information given to me by both colleagues is well taken and understood. Then the biggest question to this house is that why do we take unspent balances as such a big thing that is not understood if accounts are brought to us? Because what is taken like there is a thinking that probably this money is at the hand of Minister of Finance to spend anyhow. That's the thinking that it is. But the explanation of the minister, it is like the house is kept into know of which money has remained. Probably how it is expended is another matter that the house needs to be informed. Final two issues, Right Honorable Speaker.
Final two? No.
Briefly, very briefly, about the ban. While we live in the environment of continuous retirement, people retire continuously and death goes on continuously. I just want to know whether we have not denied our people services while we put a ban, and we know actually death is a reality and retirement has been going on normally. I have failed to understand why my cow goes to the bank to authorize payment and he says I cannot authorize. This happened many times on PDM. The money is there and the cow tries severally and finance has blocked. This is something that is very unclear that finance should be able to explain why the accounting officers, even one warrant.
Thank you. But Honorable Minister, I hope you allow replacements. Yeah? Did you also stop replacements on recruitment?
Thank you very much. Replacement is allowed and it is ongoing.
Okay, thank you.
It is only the new recruitments that are not allowed at the moment. But in the meantime, as I told you earlier, we are going to sort out everything when we form an interministerial committee to discuss the audit report that was done on human resource.
Thank you.
So after that, everything will be done well.
Thank you. Replacements are budget neutral. So, Honorable Gilbert Oranya.
Thank you.
I will allow you.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, the issues of unspent balances. Parliament have been talking about this for several years. I recall in the previous Parliament, the committee would report the amount of money being swept back to the consolidated fund, and it ends there. That's why I am appreciating this Parliament that we are being very keen and focused. Honorable Speaker, I would like to thank you so much for that. Honorable Speaker, the factors leading to unspent balances, the committee tried to bring them out, but the major concern, one of the members raised it. As the Committee for Park Local Government, unnecessary changes of the accounting officers. Honorable Speaker, the accounting officer would be deployed in a particular entity, and it takes less than 3 months, is transferred to another entity. At the end, the district needs to do so many changes, changing the signatories, doing so many things, and you find bogging down the district activities. I would like to pray, Right Honorable Speaker, through the minister, at least let the accounting officer take a minimum of 2 years in the particular district. Let that accounting officer be given time to put up the activities he feels like is best for the district. But changing the accounting officer within 6 months, 1 year is not good at all, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, looking at the resources that are being swept back to the consolidated fund, mostly when we are carrying on our auditing, you find money meant for gratuity and pension. On average, about 40% of our districts, every financial year, they return an average of 2 billion shillings, money meant for pensions and gratuity. And when the chairperson was explaining that there is no, chairperson was saying there is no cash, but we have warrant.
Honorable Gilbert, I think Honorable Max is one of our experts in
Yes.
these areas. He can give us useful information.
It's
if
okay.
you
That's
feel.
Yes.
No, thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. May I take this opportunity to provide some information to my colleague, Honorable Gilbert Olanya, that under the Treasury Single Account regime, immature as it is so far in Uganda, there is no cash available that is swept back to the consolidated fund. That's what I wanted to make clear to you, so that we would not confuse people out there. I thank you.
That's what I started with. I was told the story is in negatives, but now.
Thank you. Right Honorable Speaker, that explanation, I really feel for some of us who are not expert in accounting, we need to be clarified the more. Because, Right Honorable Speaker, many of the accounting officers, they normally explain to the committee that one of the reasons why money is swept back, sometimes the ministry release funds when it's remaining only 2 weeks to the close of the financial year. And at the end, they are given a very short period of time to do so many activities. And when they fail to do those activities, the money is swept back. And then now, what is being swept back? Exactly. What is being swept back really? So I really feel, Right Honorable Speaker, we need really to be educated. Yes, information.
Thank you.
He accepted to give me information. Right Honorable Speaker, I want to concur with the position of the committee and the advice being given by my professional friends. I think what we have not internalized, even let me say as MPs, are the processes of financing in this country. When you operate a single account, no agency has got money in a cash form. All the money is on one account. That's why I found some information, the submission of the minister, a little misleading to this parliament in the regards to a warrant and how warrants are leading to areas. When the government issues parliament, let me use this institution of parliament. When government says in this quarter, you have 20 billion, okay, as parliament, it doesn't disperse money to the account of parliament. The money is on their account. Parliament starts a process of procurement for services in the view that they have a go-ahead on a warrant from the Ministry of Finance. Now, payments to pay where Parliament has committed money are chewing up at the Ministry of Finance. Then the Ministry of Finance on a single day chooses what to pay, depending on priority and urgency. It's not fast in, it's not fast out. No, it depends on the urgency and necessity and the mood of the paymaster on that very day. on the need of the paymaster on that very day. Now, that's what they call releases. At the end of the month, where they've said Parliament was given a warrant of 20 billion, the Minister of Finance has actually given it 15 billion in actual release and commitment to services provided. But Parliament went ahead to commit for 20 billion.
Honorable Gilbert, your time is up.
Yeah, and 1 minute. On the basis that the Minister of Finance is going to pay. Therefore, the minister must own up. Why we are accumulating unless we try to match warrant and releases. And the Minister of Finance says, when I give you a warrant, I'll do everything possible to match it with releases. When they don't do so, you are going to have all this debate of unspent balance, of whatever, which is the theoretical of areas.
Thank you. Honorable Sarah Capture. We capture the amendment. There is an amendment which you want.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, on the issue of the youth gift and USMID projects being decentralized, honorable colleagues, unless we want problems, we will only be decentralizing corruption. Because I want to tell you, I was in the health sector. Under the PHC, we left funds for the districts. And instead of putting up health centers, theaters, according to the medical, in the medical standards, they went and just put up buildings because they are cut for everybody, right from the chairman to the CAO to the procurement, and the contractor had to fit all these and do shoddy work. We actually had, most of the theaters were not even in operation. We had to almost redo them again. So I want to propose, Right Honorable Speaker, that under that, we should amend that recommendation instead of decentralizing and say that donor-funded projects should not be contracted out to more than, a contractor should not get more than 2 contracts, more than 2 lots. Yes. No, should not get more than 1 lot because the lots have like 5 districts. But you find a single contractor with even sometimes 2, 3, 4 lots, and some of them, as one is in the east, another one is in the west. So we should recommend that for these donor-funded projects, a single contractor should not get more than 1 lot. Secondly, Right Honorable Speaker, we had also talked about amending on page 9, and I want to read it as follows, that we recommend that works, no, sorry, I'm reading the same thing. Parliament recommends that the Minister of Finance, Planning and Economic Development should prioritize unspent warrants of donor finance projects within the 3% supplementary schedule. I think that covers it. And Right Honorable Speaker, I want to request, we are about to go back into the 3%. Right Honorable Speaker, you mentioned that there is abuse. What we reject here is what is put on the 3%. So Right Honorable Speaker, we had an amendment. We signed a motion to amend the PFMA. I don't know really whether that should not come before they stampede us here with the supplementary again. The Honorable Mwange Chivumbi submitted this amendment, and how I wish it can be prioritized and processed before we are stampeded. So Right Honorable Speaker, that's the amendment. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Honorable Kenya.
Honorable Speaker, I've heard the justification of Honorable Sarah. Right Honorable Speaker, I don't know whether we are trying to amend the PPDA Act regarding procurement, whether our recommendation is in line with the laws or we are just doing it for record. I'm seeking clarification, Right Honorable Speaker.
Yeah, because you see, when we make a recommendation, such a recommendation is advisory. So the implementing agency has to go and see if it's in line with the law. If it's not in line with the law, it's not an amendment of the law. Sometimes it's the urge, we're expressing our feeling, and you never know, it can even come with a proposal to amend the law because of the problems that we've gotten with that too much rotting.
UBC, inspiring Uganda.
Hujambo mtazamaji wa UBC TV, unakaribishwa katika taarifa hii na tunakutangazia moja kwa moja kutoka mjini Kampala. Naitwa Bella Masangano. Habari yetu ya kwanza inasema kwamba Waziri Mkuu nchini Mheshimiwa Robina Nabanja amewaeleza wawekezaji wa nchini Italy kuhusu fursa za uwekezaji zilizopo nchini. Amewahimiza kushirikiana na serikali katika kuwekeza nchini, na ameyasema haya akiwa kwenye mkutano wa mara ya 5 wa kilele wa kila mwaka wa Baraza la Biashara la Ulaya la Afrika na Afrika Mashariki na Afrika ya Kati.
And these are oil and gas, agriculture, especially in agro-processing, that in order for us to have access to the European market, we need investors who can come and add value to our coffee to meet the standards and the quality of the European market.
Africa has the largest land mass, and Africa has vast untapped resources. The African sun is shining brighter than before, that even the vilest of evil shall not dim. Africa would love to drive its development, but requires partners to do so.
The boats with muscles bring the planes with brains. This is a different future that is possible. Therefore, Italy's investment in Africa's education is an investment in covering the future labor shortage with skilled labor.
So we invite all of you, whether private or public sector, the South Sudanese people are looking forward that their Italian friends and all other friends around the globe are welcome back to the country.
Have those two, coffee and tea. Concentrate on those. You will create a number of jobs together. Okay. So we shall definitely. Okay.
Mkutano wa viongozi kutoka miji 10 inayounda wilaya ya Jinja umeanza rasmi leo. Uzinduzi wa mkutano huo ukiongozwa na mkuu wa masuala ya siasa katika UPDF, Meja Jenerali Henry Matsiko. Mkutano huo unalenga kuwasaidia viongozi hao kubadili mitazamo hasi ambayo inachochea kuzorota kwa shughuli zenye kuleta maendeleo. Ikumbukwe kwamba maadhimisho ya miaka 43 ya tarehe 6 Februari yatafanyika Bugweri mkoani Busoga, ambapo Jinja nayo wilaya ya Jinja inapatikana kwenye mkoa huo. Maadhimisho ya tarehe 6 Februari huadhimishwa kukumbukia siku ambayo jeshi la NRA ambalo sasa linajulikana kama UPDF lilivyovamia kambi ya Kabamba kwa muongozo wa Rais Museveni, hali ambayo ilizua vita vya ukombozi wa taifa. Kama kawaida, kabla ya kilele cha maadhimisho hayo, jeshi la UPDF hushiriki katika shughuli mbalimbali za kijamii kama usafi wa kijamii, kuandaa kambi za bure za matibabu, shughuli za ujenzi na kazi zingine kama hizo za kijamii, kufanya wema kwa jamii. Mafunzo hayo ambayo yatamalizika tarehe 5 Februari yanafanyika katika uwanja wa shule ya Wanyange Girls Secondary School Jinja, ambapo viongozi 482 kutoka wilaya hizo wanashiriki mafunzo hayo. Naibu msemaji wa jeshi la UPDF Kanali Deo Akiki amewahimiza viongozi hao kujenga urafiki miongoni mwao na kulipenda taifa ili kutekeleza vyema wajibu wao wa ujenzi wa taifa. Jumuiya ya Afrika Mashariki imekuwa ikikumbwa na changamoto mbalimbali, miongoni mwa changamoto hizo ikiwa ni migogoro ya kisiasa, kibiashara na kiuchumi na vikwazo vya aina mbalimbali. Kwa mujibu wa wachambuzi, Jumuiya ya Afrika Mashariki inaundwa na Uganda, Kenya, Rwanda, Tanzania, DRC, Somalia na Sudan Kusini, na iliundwa kwa lengo la kulinda maslahi ya nchi wanachama na kuwa na umoja wa siasa. Tunayo mahojiano yaliyofanyika kati ya mwandishi wetu wa habari Dennis Sigoa na Dr. Kisembo Ronex Tendo, afisa mkuu wa utendaji Afrika Mashariki Fest.
Daktari, first of all, asante sana kwa kubali kuhojiwa, na tuna jambo ambalo tungependa tuangazie katika mahojiano haya ni kuhusu status ama tuseme jinsi Jumuiya Mashariki ya Afrika Mashariki ilivyo. Ili kwa swali hili linatokea kwamba unajua kuna sasa hivi kuna changamoto Rwanda, Kongo, Burundi, Rwanda. Kidogo hivi tuliona kwamba juzi kumekuwa issue kati ya Tanzania na Kenya kuhusu usafiri wa ndege. Hebu tupe, wewe mwenyewe umekuwa unafuatilia mambo ya Afrika Mashariki, tuambie mambo yako vipi?
Nashukuru sana. Kwa majina naitwa Daktari Kisembo Ronex Tendo. Mimi ni mkurugenzi wa vijana wa Afrika Mashariki Fest, shirika la vijana ambalo liko hapa nchini Uganda, lakini yenye tuna makao katika nchi wanachama wa Jumuiya ya Afrika Mashariki. Kwa kujibu swali lako, naomba niseme kwamba ni kweli kuna changamoto nyingi tu kwenye swala zima la muungano wetu wa Afrika Mashariki, na sio Afrika Mashariki tu, pia kwingineko kama ECOWAS kule magharibi mwa Afrika na kusini mwa Afrika SADC. Changamoto zinakuwepo, lakini kwa ufupi ni kwamba changamoto zote ambazo tunaziona sasa hivi, vile umesema, ukiangalia swala la sintofahamu iliyoko sasa hivi katika Rwanda na Democratic Republic ya Congo, juzi tumesikia Burundi ikifunga mpaka wake na Rwanda. Vile umesema, tumeona Somalia wana mzozo na Ethiopia kuhusu Somaliland. Haya yote yapo na sio kama tunayafurahia, lakini lazima kwa watu wanaoishi pamoja changamoto hazikosi kutokea. Kikubwa ni kwamba viongozi wetu wanapaswa kuketi chini, wajadili hizi changamoto na wazitafutie suluhu, kwa sababu hapo ndio tunahitaji kutilia mkazo. Yale yanayotufanya tuwe familia moja ni makubwa, ni mazito na yana manufaa mengi kuliko yale yanayotusambaratisha. Kwa hiyo ningesihi viongozi wetu wa Afrika Mashariki na sisi raia kuunga mkono jitihada zote za kuhakikisha kwamba changamoto hizi tunaziepuka na tuweze kufuata yale yaliyotazamiwa na waasisi wa jumuiya yetu ya Afrika Mashariki.
So Dr. Ronex, uliniambia hapo awali kwamba ulikuwepo Arusha na kana kwamba mikutano ya Arusha uwepo kila mwaka, lakini kumekuwa na changamoto ni kwamba marais siku hizi ni kama hawatokei, ni kama hawaji, wanawatuma mawakilishi. Wewe unaona vipi? Unaona ni kwamba marais wana nia ipi kwanza, alafu hao representatives wao wanaweza kufanya kazi ya marais?
Nashukuru sana kwa kujibu swali lako. Naomba nitumie msemo wa Kiganda. Waganda wana msemo kwamba omusigire amala bitono, muwakilishi humaliza machache. Ningesihi viongozi wetu wakuu wa nchi wa Afrika Mashariki kwamba endapo kuna kuwa na kikao, kile kikao ni mkutano wa wakuu wa nchi na kinatangazwa mapema, wanapaswa kujiandaa waweze kuhudhuria hicho kikao wenyewe. hivi karibuni tumeshuhudia imekuwa kama ni mfumo fulani wa fulani hata kuja amemtuma mwakilishi, fulani hata kuja amemtuma mwakilishi, na wawakilishi wana kipimo katika yale maamuzi ambayo wanaenda kufanya. So ningesi viongozi wetu kwamba kwa mfano mwezi ujao kuna summit, kuna maandalizi yanaendelea kwa ajili ya summit nyingine. Ningesi viongozi wetu waweze kuhudhuria hivi vikao, kwa sababu wana uwezo wa kuongea na wenzao kwa meza moja na kutafuta suluhu katika yale yanayotutatiza. Kulingana na yanayoendelea sasa hivi, sio jambo jema nchi fulani kutuma mwakilishi na nchi fulani na rais yuko kwa nchi amebaki nyumbani, na umeitwa kuketi na wenzako mjadili yanayosumbua jumuiya. Usipokuja ni kwamba hujatutendea haki.
Alafu kwa kuharibia, unaona labda wiki moja ama wiki mbili baadaye rais ameenda Marekani ama ameenda Europa, inamaanisha mambo ya nje kule ni afadhali kushinda nyumbani. Sasa nadhani wanasema kuna msemo kwamba mcheza kwao utuzo au
nafikiri ni mpaka turudi pale tuone ni kwa nini wazirishi wa Jumuiya ya Afrika Mashariki walikuwa nini wazo. Rais Milton Obote, Rais Mwalimu Julius Nyerere pamoja na Mzee Kenyatta wangeamua kila mtu akae kwao. Baada ya kupata uhuru waliona kwamba kuna haja ya sisi kuungana, ndio maana walikuwa wanakaa pamoja. Tunapoanza kukaa pamoja na wewe uhudhurii kikao, ina maana maamuzi yetu utasema mimi sikuwepo, so hutayatilia mkazo. So ni swala nyeti, na hata juzi limesumbua Arusha kwamba kama rais hayupo na wengine wapo, inasumbua wale kuchukua maamuzi kwa sababu yeye atakuwa hajahudhuria yale maamuzi. So ni jambo ambalo sio sahihi. Viongozi wetu wanapaswa wawe wanahudhuria vikao, kwa sababu ndio njia pekee ambapo watakaa pamoja waambizane ukweli, yanayowasumbua yatatue na tuweze kuendelea.
Daktari, tukimalizia, wewe unaona ni kwamba marais wetu wa Afrika Mashariki wengine wao wana kisasi baina yao wenyewe?
Kawaida kuna msemo wa hayati General Eli Tumwine alikuwa akiniambia mara kwa mara kwamba tuna viongozi wanaotaka kuwa wafalme ndani ya visima. Wakati ukiunganisha hivi visima unapata bahari, kila mtu aweze kuogelea umbali anaotaka. So nadhani ni swala la ile kujisikia kwamba mimi ni bora kuliko mwingine. Hizi ni familia moja, tunapaswa tuketi pamoja, yanayotusumbua tuyatatue, kwa sababu tunapoungana tunaangalia soko letu likiwa pana, tunaangalia swala la ulinzi na usalama wa raia ndani ya East Africa, tunaangalia miundombinu, barabara, usafiri wa anga na mengine yote. So kikubwa hapa ni kwamba yanayotuweka pamoja ni mazito na ni makubwa kuliko hivi vidogo vinavyotusambaratisha.
Asante sana kwa muda wako.
Na hayo yalikuwa mahojiano kati ya mwandishi wetu wa habari Dennis Sigowa na Dr. Kisembo Ronex Tendo, afisa mkuu wa utendaji wa Afrika Mashariki Fest, wakizungumzia changamoto zinazoikumba Jumuiya ya Afrika Mashariki. Lakini hata hivyo amesema kwamba changamoto hizo ni ndogo ndogo na zinaweza kutafutiwa suluhu. Tuendelee, tusonge mbele na taarifa ya habari, ambapo mahafali ya mara ya 74 katika chuo kikuu cha Makerere University yameingia siku ya 3, ambapo wahitimu wameshauriwa kuwajibika katika kueneza taarifa kuhusu mpango wa kimaendeleo wa Parish Development Model unaolenga kuwakwamua wananchi kiuchumi iwapo watatumia vizuri pesa za mkopo wanazopewa na serikali. Akiongea wakati wa mahafali hayo, Chancellor msaidizi wa chuo hicho Profesa Barnabas Nawangwe aliarifu kwamba shule ya biashara na masuala ya usimamizi kwa ushirikiano na shirika la UNDP viliandaa rasimu juu ya pendekezo lililotolewa la utekelezaji wa mkakati wa PDM. Kwa hiyo vyuo vinatakiwa kushirikiana na serikali katika kueneza ujumbe kuhusu mpango huo. Na wanafunzi waliohitimu masomo ni wale kutoka shule za dawa na rasilimali za wanyama na usalama wa eneo la ufugaji na sayansi ya kompyuta na taarifa, ambao walitunukiwa vyeti vya shahada ya udaktari wa falsafa, shahada za uzamili na shahada za kwanza. Miongoni mwa wahitimu hao ni mwandishi mwenzetu wa habari Kayongo Godfrey katika televisheni ya Magic TV, ambaye alitunukiwa cheti cha shahada ya kwanza katika mifumo ya habari na teknolojia. Shule ya masomo ya kompyuta na masomo ya taarifa za sayansi ya chuo cha Makerere kwa ushirikiano na shule ya afya ya jamii zimepokea msaada wa kifedha kutoka Google kufanya utafiti wa matumizi ya teknolojia ya AI katika kuboresha mfumo wa ugunduzi wa magonjwa ya malaria, kifua kikuu na saratani ya shingo ya kizazi. Hivi sasa kinachofuata ni taarifa kuhusiana na soko la fedha.
This Tarehe Sita, join us in honoring the bravery and sacrifice of our armed forces. It's a celebration of resilience, unity, and the journey towards peace. Tarehe Sita is more than just a date. It's a symbol of our commitment to a strong and secure nation. February 6th marks the day when our heroes began the journey towards liberation. Let's remember their courage and sacrifice. Get ready for an unforgettable experience. This Tarehe Sita, we have a lineup of events that bring together our armed forces and the community. Join us on 6th February 2024 in Bugweri district for the Tarehe Sita celebrations under the theme, Celebrating the People's Struggle for Unity and Peace for Socio-Economic Transformation. Your presence makes a difference. Let's come together to celebrate our shared history and the path towards a brighter future.
How to use the EIPP. Welcome to the Electronic Investors and Protection Portal, your guide to seamless investment processes in Uganda. Step 1. Navigate the portal. Start by searching protection.statehouseinvest.go.ug. On Google, use the menu bar for various tasks. Step 2. Submitting a complaint. To lodge a complaint, click Report. Fill out the form, submit and note your reference number. Step 3. Making an inquiry. For inquiries, select Inquiry. Complete the form, submit and record your reference number. Step 4. Whistleblowing. To report anonymously, choose Whistleblow, fill the form and submit. Step 5. Accessing FAQs. Find the answers to the common questions under the FAQs link. Step 6. Seeking information. For investment cycle guidance, hover over Resources, click Resources Center and explore. Step 7. Exploring services. Hover over Services for stakeholder offerings like business registration. Step 8. Tracking progress. To track submissions, click Report, select Track Inquiry or Complaint. Enter your reference number and check your email for updates. Need more help? Call +256 326 100 630 or email info@statehouseinvest.go.ug.
Karibu tena na tunaangalia habari ya mwisho kwa siku ya leo isemayo mkutano wa siku ya ulinzi wa taarifa wa 2024 wa Data Privacy Day Conference umegusia umuhimu wa wananchi kuwa na ufahamu wa vyanzo vyote vya taarifa walizonazo, iwe taarifa za kidijitali ama taarifa kwa njia ya karatasi, na kufahamu pia sheria zinazolinda taarifa zao ili kukuza viwango vya ufaragha wa taarifa hizo. Maafisa mbalimbali wenye vyeo vikuu walihudhuria mkutano huo.
Or even tap into the data of citizens. Now, Associate Professor Ronald Kakungulu Mayambala, in his paper, Phone Tapping and the Right to Privacy, a comparison of the right to privacy and communications in Uganda and Canada, lists a series of alleged phone tapping incidents involving especially members of the opposition, which were reported in the press. One of them, I think, was recently confirmed, included a member of Parliament, the Honorable Cecilia Oga, may her soul rest in peace, who had her telephone conversation with the rebel leader of the Lord's Resistance Army tapped.
By prioritizing the data protection needs of the blind and visually impaired, we aim to create an environment where every Ugandan, regardless of their abilities, can take charge of their privacy and understand and confidently assert their privacy rights.
Na huo ndio mwisho wa taarifa hii ya habari. Shukran kwa kutizama.
UBC, inspiring Uganda. This week on UBC.
A new dawn on Behind the Headlines with me, Timothy Nyangweso. Every Wednesday, live in our studios in the heart of Kampala. We have conversations that have analysis, explanation, but not every truth is fact, and not every fact is truth. Every Wednesday, 10 p.m. on your public broadcaster.
All on your public broadcaster. UBC, inspiring Uganda.
This Tarehe Sita, join us in honoring the bravery and sacrifice of our armed forces. It's a celebration of resilience, unity, and the journey towards peace. Tarehe Sita is more than just a date. It's a symbol of our commitment to a strong and secure nation. February 6th marks the day when our heroes began the journey towards liberation. Let's remember their courage and sacrifice. Get ready for an unforgettable experience. This Tarehe Sita, we have a lineup of events that bring together our armed forces and the community. Join us on 6th February 2024 in Bugweri District for the Tarehe Sita celebrations under the theme, Celebrating the People's Struggle for Unity and Peace for Socio-Economic Transformation. Your presence makes a difference. Let's come together to celebrate our shared history and the path towards a brighter future.
Buri munya-Uganda nayitinga amakuru marungi. UBC West eyina amakuru marungi kandi agari kwesigwa. Rero za program zayo ziri omu Runyakitara hamwe n'Orufumbira. UBC West eyine tekinologiya ey'omurembe eri kugibasisa kuhika omu bicweka byona omu ihanga nangu n'aheru y'ihanga. Tukwatire aha frequencies zetu. Kisoro 97.7 Fama. Kalari 93.7 Fama. Hoima china na mwenda katonyeze mwe fama. Kampala igana itano katonyeze mushanju fama. Mbarara china na mushanju katonyeze ina fama. Footpoto china na mnana katonyeze munana fama. Masindi igana itano fama. Kurichiriza UBC West ohulire nibaganiza. UBC West empika huna.
Ku ddakiika 2 zokka ezikongose ku ssaawa emu ey'akawungeezi kwensinzidde okwaniriza ku UBC TV. Amawulire oli ku UBC leero. Olwaleero olunaku olukomekkereza omwezi omubereberye mu 2024. Nze Shaidat Nasaku ne Yusuf Senyomo. Ku lwa bannaffe abakozesa olulimi olw'obubonero bingi bye tukuŋŋaanyiriza olunaku olwaleero. Omuli n'essaawa Minisita Nabbanja akuutidde bamusiga nsimbi mu Italy okujja okusiga mu Uganda so nga n'abatuuze e Naggalama bakayuukidde DPC lwa basirikale baabwe ku ssabanguzi ate nga Nigeria UPDF libangudde abakulembeze e Busoga nga beetegekera tarehe 6 ate nga n'obulwaliro obutali mu mateeka e Nansana buggaddwa mu kikwekweto ekikoleddwa. Ago n'agasingawo olwaleero ge tugenda okutuusaako. Tugatandise ne ssaawa Minisita wa Uganda Robinah Nabbanja asabye bamusiga nsimbi okuva mu ggwanga erya Italy okwatagana ne Uganda olw'obusobozi n'emikisa egiriwo gye basobola okukozesa okusiga ensimbi. Abadde awo obubaka bwe mu lukuŋŋaana olwokutaano olwa European Corporate Council on Africa and Middle East. Yemboozi gy'olaba.
Uganda okubeera n'embeera y'obudde ennungi n'amateeka agakira ku mawanga amalala kuba musiga nsimbi kigiwa omwagaanya kubanga esobola okwenyigira mu byensuubulagana n'amawanga amalala okusikirizibwa okusigamu ensimbi. Minisita wa Uganda Robinah Nabbanja asinzidde mu lukuŋŋaana lwa Europe.
We are going to give it to the minister, okay? We are going to ensure the minister gets it and honorable minister day, because I don't want to give you an ambition just one day. On Tuesday, okay, you come back and you respond to these issues. Yeah. Thank you, Honorable Minister. Now, Honorable Cooper, please let's move on. Honorable colleagues, in the public gallery this afternoon, we have a delegation of project staff of Guru Child and Youth Development Center, bracket UG 1040 from Crack, South County, Amur District, represented by Honorable Oranya Gilbert and Honorable Akero Rusi. They've come to observe proceedings of this house. Please join me in welcoming them. Thank you. Thank you for coming. Of course, such a heavy name would only come from Gilbert. Okay. I had allowed the procedure. Honorable, can you just wait?
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I raise on the procedural issue over the matter of the Employment Amendment Act that we passed in Parliament in the month of May 2023. I have heard in corridors that the bill was returned, but the rules provide for how the bill that is returned from the President is presented to the members. It is either through reading the issues that the President has raised,
or through the gazetting of those details. I've tried to look around. I've reached to the legal department. They don't have any information. I've talked to the committee. They don't have any information. And you may recall, you engaged us, the private members, and the Ministry of Gender to merge that bill. And I think I'm a key stakeholder. I would like to know how we are progressing, and I'm appealing to you to get us the details to know how far we have moved. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll also visit the corridors. Because it seems there is some information in the corridors, and then we build on that, and I'll get back to you. Honorable Kamuntu Moses.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I rise on a matter of national importance regarding impassable roads, Rwanda District, especially my constituency, Rwanda West. Right Honorable Speaker, we have a UNRWA road that is covering entire county of Bufundi, surrounded by the Lake Bunyonyi, and that road has been abandoned by UNRWA for the last 5 years. Now to access Kashash sub-county, I must pass Katuna, go to Kashash sub-county, covering 100 kilometers instead of 10 kilometers from Rwanda Council. All of the roads, we have 15 gorilla groups in Rwanda West. All of them, roads are cut off. And you know, these groups fetch a lot of money on a daily basis. And I wonder how the government can abandon such a lucrative business. My prayer is the Minister of Works. I write to him every day, and he's good at reminding me. What he tells me is there's no money. I've visited UNRWA offices, they say there's no money. So what should I tell my people?
Thank you. No, of the people you've mentioned, you've not mentioned your colleague from Rwanda East. Okay, but government, on a minister for money, your neighbor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and the honorable neighbor speaks for me, because I can no longer now express some concerns here. However, Mr. Speaker, what is happening in Rwanda is the same situation happening across the country, and it is occasioned by nothing else but the constraints in cash flows. Mr. Speaker, this notwithstanding, we have, as much as practicable, tried to manage the emergencies wherever they occur. That road of Katunamuko, it is true, it has not been maintained for some time. I was not yet notified. It has gone to an extent of being cut off. I am going to check if that is true. The money for handling that emergency can be found immediately.
Thank you. Thank you, Honorable.
Mr. Speaker, lastly, I also wish to inform my brother, Honorable Musa, and the people, our people in Rwanda, together with Katuna, where Bahati comes from, that road is one of the roads we have provided funding for tarmacking. And the process, clarification from my friend, the Shadow Minister of Finance.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I want to thank the Honorable Msasis for giving way. The clarification I am seeking, if the Honorable Bart can allow you to listen. You have said if there's an emergency, money can be released immediately. So now all risky emergencies in our constituency, because you have said if there's an emergency, that money can be found immediately. That's the clarification I wanted.
No, but Honorable Minister, please, this is my time. It was just a minute response. This
Mr.
should be the
Speaker,
last one.
it's a good actually the front bench. Once it accepts our clarifications, the House moves on very well with your guidance, Mr. Speaker. I think
that is indirectly taking over.
No, with your guidance,
Please,
Mr. Speaker,
just
sir.
you're the final one.
Mr. Speaker, the issue of saying that they have managed emergencies is unprecedented. And I would pray that the minister says that at least they have tried. In Kalungu, we have a road from Gomba through Chamuliwa, where Katonga broke, and the people are using boats to cross a river. And the best evidence is the Honourable Minister next to you on your right. He can tell you because that was his constituency. Also, he crosses using a boat with these vehicles and the lead cars. So, if you talk about trying emergencies, these members of Parliament, Mr. Speaker, have always raised matters of national importance, and the results are not well, they are not yielding. So I would pray, Mr. Minister, sir, that maybe you say you are trying, but in actual sense, you are not trying. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, we are trying, and we have provided 570 billion to handle the emergency at Katonga. And the work is going on. Mr. Speaker, my last point was the Katuna Muko road is one of the roads which we have provided funding for tarmacking. And I want to thank this House for passing.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Colleagues in the gallery this afternoon, we have students of Kitumba Child Development Center, Bukori County Central, Bujiri District, represented by Honorable Saranyi Solomon, Commissioner of Parliament, and Honorable Taka Agnes. They've come to observe proceedings of this House. Please join me in welcoming them. Thank you. Thank you. Honorable Kwizera Wagahungu. After Honorable Eddie. Okay.
I am not talking about tourism road, right, Honorable Speaker.
No, I'm saying I'm talking to Kibadi.
I am raising an issue of national importance about the tea sector. Sometime it directed that the tea sector be looked into, and the Minister of Finance came here and undertook and promised that people would be paid. And even those who had the seedlings were allowed to supply with the view that they will be paid in the preceding year, which is this financial year. And secondly, they promised that there would be a tea policy to regulate the tea sector because there is no tea policy. But because of those inconsistencies, right, Honorable Speaker and colleagues, now the tea sector is faced with a challenge because people are not paid, they have lost properties, and those who have factories, the cost of power and maintaining the factories is so high that they are now shutting down the factories. And even those people who had planted tea, they are threatening to cut it down. So my prayer is that can't we have a tea policy in place? Two, can the minister expedite payment of these unpaid bills because they are affecting the economy? I thank you.
Honorable Minister for Finance.
Mr. Speaker, we allowed some discount that we pay them when the government realizes resources. The commitment, Mr. Speaker, is still there. However, we are experiencing the situation where cash flows are a challenge. And what I can say for now, in the future, when the cash flows are realized, we shall settle the obligation.
Honorable colleagues, we are going into budgeting. Okay. Let us look at how best we can prioritize this issue. Because handling it now here, we won't do much the way we are preparing. Honorable Kibadi, I had allowed you.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, my procedure matter was related to the answers from the Minister of Finance in relation to the neighbors issue. Right Honorable Speaker, this morning we had discussion and we are coming to your office because the situation has gone beyond, because you heard the minister saying that they will always intervene in emergencies. But that can only be true those who are his neighbors and those who can access him. There are several issues. All these MPs you see here, Right Honorable Speaker, they are suffering with the poor state of roads in their areas. What is very disappointing, Right Honorable Speaker, when the Minister of Finance released the money, he could release zero for road maintenance. Minister didn't get money, but he could afford to release 180 billion for renewal of national IDs. We wondered which priority they considered. So we wanted to come to your office, Right Honorable Speaker, to request to intervene directly in this issue. Kindly to invite the concerned stakeholders. Maybe the minister could listen to you, these other people, so that we find a way, because there is no way you can provide zero and you have money for other areas. So we request your office, as you have always intervened in some of these areas that are very sensitive, Right Honorable. We discussed it this morning. We are coming to your office. So we are requesting you to pick interest, intervene, and see how best you can save your MPs. Thank you, Right.
Thank you. First, wait a bit. This is an issue we handled yesterday when we were discussing the budget framework paper. The same issue came, and the Minister for Finance on record and promised that they are releasing more money for those entities, including roads, in February. Minister, do you want to reconfirm that I got you right? Because this was yesterday.
Mr. Speaker, you are absolutely correct, and I have nothing to add.
Okay. Yes, Honorable Sarah, on the same.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, on the floor of this House, we have discussed the issue of the road fund. The road fund was not, that act was created for a purpose, borrowing a leaf from how other countries have been able to have very good roads and well-maintained roads. And Right Honorable Speaker, the Ministry of Finance was hiding under the constitutional provision, which the Attorney General, I'm glad you were in the seat when the Attorney General clearly guided that funds created by an act of this House, by Parliament, are protected and are not part of those. I mean, the funds cannot go to consolidated fund for as long as there is an act that covers it. Right Honorable Speaker, there is nothing that we can do in this country without roads. To reach the health centers, you need roads. To reach schools, you need roads. To promote agriculture, PDM, everything, you need roads. Right Honorable Speaker, the Minister of Finance, after requesting for time to go and discuss the matter with Cabinet, came here and actually indicated that they were going to handle the matter. To date, Right Honorable Speaker, we are still talking about the same challenge. If you had had the fuel levy in place, the 100 shillings per litre going to the road fund, inclusive of the other fines, we would not be talking about this, lack of funds for districts. And yet we have, there are other roads. We sent 1 billion shillings to the districts. It's not adequate. But we have the sub-county roads, Right Honorable Speaker, that are now in the worst state because there is totally no funding to actually maintain them. So, Right Honorable Speaker, I want to urge you, unless we operationalize the road fund, all of us, 2026 is near. What are we going to tell our people? In my district, people are protesting. The Nagongera Road has been an issue since 2000, when His Excellency, the President, pledged to tarmac that road. There are those roads which are supposed to be pre-financed, Right Honorable Speaker, where the President okayed UNRWA to allow them, to allow contractors who have money, pre-finance, and government would pay them later. Namutumba Navamali Butaleja Road is one of those, which would cover the Tororo Nagongera Road. We also need to know what happened to those roads.
Thank you, Honorable.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker.
Now, Honorable colleagues, and whenever we talk about the road fund, I look at Honorable Nathan Byanyima, who was a champion, and has done a fantastic job. There is a time I just look at our minister, just look them in the face, and I see the dilemma they are in. I see, and you find the minister really is stuck, because he sat down and he said one day, if all these funds which were passed are operationalized, what will remain in the consolidated fund?
Institutions, as if they are not there, and nobody wants to talk about them. These are Ugandans, they pay taxes like any other. Just because they fall in a newly created sub-counties, nobody talks about them. I really wanted to see and urge that committee you are assigning that responsibility to ensure that that one is also in put in as far as the and as far as your considerations are going to be made. We also have, we cry inside, we bleed from inside, how the Minister of Finance prioritizes. We know what you are talking about. We know we have limited resources. We also know what the circumstances under which we are operating. But we also know that in the Ministry of Finance, we have very sharp brains who really should know Uganda much better than very many Ugandans with regard to prioritization of where the little resources should be going. Like Honorable Chiwalia puts it, we know very well that our IDs are going to expire sometime in October next financial year. But here we are prioritizing it over roads from my constituency to the constituency of Honorable Hams. You cannot cross from Chikagate to Kawiyanda, 4 crossing major areas. These are very heavily populated areas. You've been there, you know the area. For goodness sake, for how long are we going to cry?
Thank you,
I wanted to urge that that committee considers, one, the sub-counties and town councils that are newly created, that have suffered for the last 4 years, and also consider looking at districts that are 3 times bigger than the normal districts for further and more funding. I thank you.
No, honorable colleagues, I would want if, for example, during the budgeting process, we said, let us have the law implemented as it is, what would be the impact? We assess, we get a solution together with the minister. Okay, we see what would be the impact. Honorable Ekanya.
Yeah, thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, in 2015, Act, we discussed in detail how to manage all the funds, because we have environmental fund, road fund, and so many funds. The principle upon which we agreed as Parliament then and government to have all the funds go to consolidated fund, it was for purpose of collection, to avoid government operating in silos, to have so many institutions collecting these funds. So it was agreed, because now government is operating single accounting system. So to avoid duplication, wastage of resource of collection and the management administration, because all these institutions would have managing directors, police, and so forth. It was agreed we consolidate collection. But once the money hits
Bank of Uganda, the treasury, it must be automatically moved to the fund account. So our challenge, Honorable
funds are under ministry, under committee of finance. That's the, it should be the relevant committee to handle this issue. I gave committee of finance 2 weeks to report back on this matter. Honorable, Honorable, procedure, what's the procedure, matter? Any single matter?
The last 8 years has failed to grow the economy. He begins juggling one fund to pay this, to pay this. The procedure issue I am raising is whether that committee can also, in addition, be assigned to study the impact of one man's rule for the last 38 years and what it has done to the economy.
That can come during the debate. It's not a competent commission.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, I want to raise up under Rule 220. And under the rule, I would like to request that can the Ministry of Public Service give us a report as to when they intend to lift the ban on the recruitment. I represent the city, Hoima, and work is at a standstill, Right Honorable Speaker. All cities, all district local governments, work is at a standstill. And the Ministry of Public Service is to blame because they have instituted a ban, which is never ending. I'm seeing the minister here. There were two, I don't see the senior minister, but the Minister of State is here. Can we get a report as to when the Minister of Public Service is going to lift the ban so that work can begin, can resume in our areas, Right Honorable Speaker?
Yeah, but I'm trying to understand how Rule 220 is being applied. Because Rule 220 action taken reports.
Right Honorable Speaker, we discussed this matter some time back, some 3 months ago, and we were told by the Minister of Public Service that they were carrying out an audit, presumably by the Auditor General. But I heard recently the Auditor General had finished the audit, and therefore the recruitment can now resume. That's why I brought up that matter, so that we can get a report now on action which is being taken by the Minister of Public Service.
Thank you. Honorable colleague, I just want to say, when you quote a rule, you make it difficult for me if you don't follow that rule. Rule 220 is for on resolutions of this House, not on what was being discussed with the Auditor General, with what, but you're raising a very important matter. Honorable Minister, did you want to say? But Honorable colleagues, don't smuggle matters this way. Then we shall not finish our. It will be difficult for us to complete our order paper if we keep smuggling this way.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. And I want to thank the member for raising this very important issue because it is being raised by many people. And I remember we agreed that after the production of the report, we are going to discuss it, then come up with resolutions. But at the moment, even it was tabled in Parliament, I doubt if Parliament has already discussed it, the audit report on validation of staff. And indeed, this report is not yet discussed by the top management of the ministry.
We are about to discuss it, then we will let you know when the recruitment hold will be lifted. But at the moment, it is not yet.
Any timeline is there? Do you see? Because
And I think it will be.
you can consult and you report.
I'm going
back.
to, let me consult.
Consult and you report.
Yes,
back.
thank you.
Thank you. Honorable Isaac Timgiu.
I've just stood up. Order on what? Just
Point of order.
on me.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, last week on Thursday, you emphasized the point of ministers respecting their appointments. And you said the front benches must be respected. Even yesterday, you echoed the same. Right Honorable Speaker, is it in order for the Shadow Minister of Finance to continue sitting in the same position he was sitting in before he was appointed? And abusing the appointing authority, that maybe the position they gave him was not right. Is he in order to continue sitting?
Maybe he's not yet sworn in. He's just to be sworn in, and then I hope soon he will be coming. Opposition Chief Whip, that's your work, not my work. To ensure that your people, okay, are seated in the right place. Honorable Isaac, you wanted to say anything about it? Oh, you have an item you want to smuggle through that channel?
No, the member was respectful of your guidance that there is free sitting, so he shifted to the other end. But I call upon him to come to his rightful position over here.
I emphasized, honorable colleagues, because I've met very many colleagues who do not know members of the shadow cabinet.
Yes.
Many colleagues, they do not know members of the shadow cabinet. So we said the front bench should be reserved for these very important people who are members of the shadow cabinet. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Honorable Timgiu.
Thank you. Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, in September 2022, the CDO set an indicative price for the cotton season of 2023 at about 2,300 shillings as the buying purchasing price for a kilo of cotton. But unfortunately, in most of our cotton growing districts, that is Nebi, other areas in Eastern Uganda, Western, including Kasese, farmers are crying due to the low purchase price at the selling point. In Nebi district, for example, farmers are being offered prices as low as 1,300 shillings. And they're not being given any other choice per kilo. And the worst thing is that we have also noticed that there are few buyers this time around our districts who are actually buying the cotton. So we do not know what is happening. So if
colleagues, you know, the general principle when I'm sharing the house, I say no matters of national importance, it's not information. Yeah? So continue, but we shall allow Dr. Boka.
Thank you. I will allow.
Just
so,
as an exception.
Right Honorable Speaker, the farmers are really putting this blame on us, the leaders and the government, that we are not listening to their cry, that we actually lied to them and made them plant cotton, and now we are offering them very low prices. And this is the cry we wanted actually the ministry to talk about. My prayer is that the minister sets out white, comes out openly, and tells the House why they have allowed our farmers to be exploited by some of these people offering them very low prices, which is different from the price that CDO actually set. And then secondly, if there is a problem with in the cotton market internationally, can the Minister of Agriculture update the House as to why the problem is like that, so that we can take the same information to our farmers who are blaming us for not standing up with them in terms of the price being offered. Thank you. I'll take the information.
Dr. Boka, you wanted to add on something?
Yeah, thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I want to thank Isaac, Honorable, for raising that issue.
Madisa region in West Nile is one of the cotton growing regions in the 50s, 60s, up to the 70s. The issue is raising has affected the districts in Madisa region as well, where cotton has been grown while expecting a higher price. Lower prices were offered, as low as 1,500, 1,700. But beyond that, Right Honorable Speaker, the cotton is being bought on credit. And some of the cotton farmers have not yet been paid at a time when children are going back to school. Right Honorable Speaker, the cotton sector is a sector that His Excellency holds dear. Promoting cotton should be something else that honorable members of parliament should hold dear, because we are saying we shouldn't be bringing second-hand clothing into the country. Produce our own cotton, process our own cotton, make our own textile, export our own textile. We pray that government takes steps to see to it that this sector is not killed. Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity.
You want to comment on this? One guy don't have cotton in your area.
Mr. Speaker.
Okay, you have contract farmers.
Yes, I thought to leave on the floor of Parliament to table a contract farmers bill. That's what ensures what the honorable members are talking about. And I want to seek, Right Honorable Speaker, space for the first reading of that bill. It's ready.
Please come to my office.
Mr. Speaker and honorable colleagues, we are having a challenge, not only with cotton, but also with sugar and
tea
and maize. But let me talk about those that are being affected by the global pricing: sugar, tea, and cotton. When the prices of these items come down, the people that are buying also reduce the prices. That's a challenge that we are facing now. And we are operating in the context of free market economy. But for sugar, I had a meeting with the mayor of Masin this morning, and we are going down to have a meeting with the manufacturers there and the farmers to see how to resolve it. I know that there's a minimum intervention by government on the side of cotton. There's a way we support this sector, and we know the importance of these sectors. So, Mr. Speaker, the best that we can do now is to again have some engagements, dialogue with those that are buying and those that are selling, and see whether there can be some agreed position. But it's a very difficult situation unless government can commit, which I know it's not going to be possible to have subsidies. It will be a little bit difficult to set a price for a certain commodity.
Thank you. Now, Honorable Minister and Honorable colleagues, you see, when you meet these people, the problem, the moment they get frustrated, some people come and uproot, and yet government has put in a lot to support them out of frustration. Then you find in a year or two, the prices have gone up, the same people are even regretting. So sometimes how we manage information, how we engage these farmers to give them hope. But also, I think it's high time we started looking at maybe stabilization funds. A very good example, you stabilize the foreign currency. You have a special way you stabilize the foreign currency. Through the warehouse receipt system, you can see a way of buying this, and then once the prices go up, but this is something you should be looking at as a government in terms of strategy to help these farmers. That's the wrong term. It's not immediate. You can't just create it now, but it's something we should start looking at, especially on those crops that are affected by global prices. When the prices are doing bad, we come in, we do something. I remember for maize, the time when it had gone to around 200, and we came in we came in, we stabilized it. After it shot up, okay? And government, in fact, ended up making even profits, I think, for that which it had bought. Honorable colleagues, you can see the time that we have. It's not on my side.
Per day. That's the fourth division. But there is one of the district, the fifth division. But there is one of the district that has enjoyed the benefits of having UPDF division. We have schools and health centers that are benefiting our children.
Are you provoking Honorable Semuju to ask for a battalion also anyway?
I'm only saying that I think we should give credit where it's due. Right, Honorable Speaker.
Schools.
Right, Honorable Speaker. History tends to repeat itself. In 1988, Northern Uganda, especially Acholi sub-region, saw the birth of the LRA insurgents that claimed thousands of lives in Acholi sub-region. Right, Honorable Speaker, currently in my district, we have juvenile delinquencies popping up every day. And these children are as a result of the insurgency that occurred in Northern Uganda. You will not believe, due to lack of work, due to lack of rehabilitation, these children, our own children, our own blood, have resulted into breaking into shops, breaking into houses, stealing salaries of civil servants. I'll give an example of Parliamment sub-county in Ogonyo Center. Just last week, a fight brewed up and 5 people got seriously injured and they are admitted in Guru General Referral. Right, Honorable Speaker, we are requesting the Minister of Internal Affairs to come to Pade District and solve the issue of lack of police posts, police stations in Pade District. Parliamment sub-county, Pokot sub-county, Lunyiri sub-county, all these are sub-counties without any police station. And these juvenile delinquents are taking advantage of that. Secondly, Right Honorable Speaker, I would also want to implore the Minister of Gender. We have heard of Juakali projects coming up. Such projects don't come to Pade District. There are very many projects coming up. There's the Presidential Initiative on Skilling Youth. We are benefiting, but the numbers are less. Can the Minister come to Pade District and also handle that issue?
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Right Honorable Speaker.
Just let me call Minister for Northern Uganda. Honorable Quinching. She could coordinate with her colleagues.
Right Honorable Speaker, I thank you for this opportunity. I have heard what the Honorable Member of Pader has said, and I want to confirm that there are such youth coming up among the communities and among the cities. I liaise with the Ministry of Gender, Labor, and Social Development so that we can discuss the issues on site.
Thank you. Honorable Cooper. No, you threatened her, she took off. She failed.
Yeah, thank you.
Okupa, Honorable Okupa.
Thank you, Right Honorable
Because
Speaker.
she's not on the floor,
Yeah.
she's no longer on the floor. So Honorable Okupa.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, before I raise this matter, I want to put across, I want to just plead with the Minister of State for Trade, because, Honorable Speaker, I chair the board of the Teso Cooperative Union, and our main product is cotton. I think you need to ask the minister responsible to come and make a serious statement on this matter, because the information
you are giving here. I'm a bit uncomfortable with it because I know CDO, by the time it announced the indicative price, has consulted and done research with the international market before they announce the price. So by the time they announce the price, they have done the consultation, they have known the market prices. So the matter raised by colleagues from West Nile of these masqueraders who are now coming to buy the prices at a lower price is something that the ministry must come and explain to this house. Because I remember last year, the CDO made 2 announcements on the indicative prices, the first and the second. The second was revising the first one because they had realized the price they announced was lower than what is pertaining in the world market. So, Right Honorable Speaker, I think the minister responsible for cooperatives should come and make a statement on this matter in this house. Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, the matter I'm raising here arises from the time when we were hosting the Speaker's Conference. While at the airport, it came to my knowledge that Uganda Police Air Wing, which operates currently 4 aircraft, comprising of 3 helicopters and 1 fixed-wing aircraft. The fixed-wing aircraft 5X PEF stroke P180 Piaggio Avanti 2 Evo 9-seater was acquired in June 2019 at a cost of $7,480,000 US. Police has only used this aircraft for the training, but it's surprising and disturbing that today police wants to sell the aircraft. When they have only used it for training for a few hours, less than 100 hours. And how much are they selling this aircraft now? They want to sell it at a price of $4 million US, barely 5 months. They now want to sell it at $4 million US.
Why?
$4 million US. It's an aircraft which has been operational.
Why are they selling from the information you got on it?
The information I'm getting it that they want to acquire another one. At whatever cost, we don't know. That's the second part of it. The second other part, they're saying they want to barter it. They can no longer manage it. And this information was brought to me by the police officers at the airport. These aircraft are still being parked there. When you look at the budget, when we look at the budget framework paper, for us who are in the Fiscal Infrastructure Committee, Uganda Airlines is looking for money to buy an aircraft. Why can't this aircraft be given to Uganda Airlines if Uganda Police has failed to maintain, to have domestic, for operating domestic flights or for hire? Why would we want to sell this aircraft just barely 4 years at a price less than half of the price? So, Right Honorable Speaker, I want to request that you ask the Committee of Defense and Internal Affairs to take up this matter and invite the police here, because it's a wastage of resources. Unless somebody wants to make a deal out of this, why would we want to just dispose it at half the price, barely 4 years down the road? So, Right Honorable Speaker, I would pray that the committee takes up this matter and brings a report to this house. If they are failing to handle it, let it go to Uganda Airlines for domestic rights. Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker.
Thank you. Honorable Cooper raised 2 issues. The first one was with the cotton, and he wanted the Minister for Cooperatives to bring a statement. I think that's the right one. And the statement shouldn't only be for cotton. Let it also cover tea. I think we have a problem with tea and sugar. Tea, sugar, and no, but the one, let's deal with cotton since it's structured in cooperative form, okay? Because tea is not in cooperative form. Let us, the ones which are in cooperative form, next week should bring us a statement. The one of the helicopter, I don't know, General Jim, you wanted to comment? Yeah.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. I thank Honorable Okupa for raising this matter. We are going to investigate it and report back to the House.
Yeah, because my thinking is really to send a committee to do an investigation on a matter which is outright. The minister should come and report here and inform the House whether indeed it is true or not, okay? Tuesday next week. This should be Tuesday next week. If we find it needs further scrutiny, then we can send it to the committee at that time. I kept stopping Honorable Kanya. He was standing up. Let me first finish with Honorable Kanya.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker and colleagues, I want to take this opportunity on behalf of Forum for Democratic Change to thank the Right Honorable Speaker of Parliament, you Right Honorable Speaker, and all colleagues, members of Parliament, ministers and the government for the overwhelming support you accorded during the send-off of our member, Honorable Cecilia Atim Ogwal. Honorable Speaker, the bipartisan management of the send-off, the barrier from the time the body was received from the airport during the vigil, and throughout when the body moved in Teso, Mbale, and then reached the final resting place, has demonstrated a high level of unity, and we in the FDC, the party president, the secretary general, and all members of the FDC are very grateful to Parliament and to government. Right Honorable Speaker, we have learned many things during the send-off of Honorable Atim Cecilia Ogwal, that there are certain activities that the party would have loved, for example, taking the body to the party headquarters to view, but there is a gap in the administration of Parliament. Right Honorable Speaker and colleagues, I pray that we need to look at the Administration of Parliament Act with the view of amending, so that if a member of NUP, member of NRM passes away, if the party wishes to take the body at the party headquarters so that the members pay last respect, that provision is there. Secondly, Right Honorable Speaker, as a party, we pray that there will be consensus when coming to identifying and during the by-election in Dokolo, that the same spirit of unity and support that was extended will be extended to the candidate that will be identified by FDC and the family, so that we have unity during this process. Finally, Right Honorable Speaker, I want to thank you and colleagues. I represent Parliament of Uganda in an organization that includes 11 African countries, where I represent Office of the Speaker. In that organization, that International Conference on Great Lakes, we meet with honorable speakers. And Right Honorable Speaker, I want to extend appreciation to you and to this Parliament at the level of hospitality you accorded the members of Parliament who came from Kenya, including the Deputy Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, the Deputy Speaker of Kenya, the Member of Parliament of Kenya, and the entire delegation appreciate the time you accorded them, to the level that you secured helicopter that managed to move them from Lito to be able to catch their flight on time. And as FDC, we are very grateful, and the members of Parliament of Kenya are very grateful. We want to thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Now, you had, no, we still convey our condolences. The issues of how parties will deploy are issues you can negotiate under iPod. Okay, you have platforms and all that. But we wish Mama to rest well. Yeah. You had the procedure matter on Cyrus?
Yes. Yeah. Right Honorable Speaker, while the Honorable Minister for Northern Affairs was on the floor, I was about, okay, Northern Uganda. I've been corrected. Thank you for the correction. I was about to ask her about something. When I looked at your face, I saw guidance coming to me that find another way of doing it, don't ask the minister. Right Honorable Speaker, the Honorable colleague who spoke about the children who are becoming sort of criminals because of what is happening down there, Honorable Komakech here, raised a very pertinent issue. And these issues come as a result of the past injustices meted on the population in Uganda, more so in the greater north. If you come to Teso, go to Acholi,
Lango, West Nile, and several parts of the country. We have people, children born of war. We also have women, girls who went out of this country because of war. They returned as women with the children, and they are facing rejection in society. Several institutions lost property, school tracts, and several issues occurring in the country. But Right Honorable Speaker, His Excellency the President one time in Kololo said among the bills that we are going to bring to this house is the transitional justice bill to solve these kind of problems. And that is the bill, that is the law that we need to sort out the mess that we're talking about. I would love to find out from government, specifically the Ministry of Justice and Constitutional Affairs, 2, Ministry of Internal Affairs, 3, Ministry of Defense, because that is where all these things have been confined. When is this particular bill coming to Parliament?
Thank you.
Because we're now going for elections. When is it coming? I see you bring bills here, and we want to pass them in 1 week almost.
Thank you.
What happens with transitional
Thank
justice bill?
Honorable Attorney General.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. I appreciate my colleagues' concern. We are still doing the necessary consultations. When we are ready, we will come. Thank you.
So you're in the process.
I can tell you that we are in the process.
Okay.
But we are doing the right
that's,
consultations.
I would request him to give a timeline. Right Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Milton Muma, Vice Chairperson of the Forum on Children Affairs, him and Margaret and other members, including Obiga Rose, and they've been doing a very great job on issues to do with our children. Honorable Milton.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I vividly recall when government was presenting its legislative agenda, Minister of Internal Affairs did highlight this as one of the priority bills they were planning to bring on the floor of Parliament. When I hear my big brother, the Attorney General, say that they're still consulting, yet in 2015, they were trying to abolish the amnesty law, which is an alternative to this one, I feel we're missing a point. So I would feel and appeal to government to fast track this instead of saying we are consulting. We need a timeline as far as this bill is concerned. I thank you.
Thank you. But honorable colleagues, it's not good legislative practice for a house to say, we give you this deadline, bring the law. That's not good legislative practice, apart from those which are statutory. But what we can do is to urge the government side that indeed you said this is a critical law. Please expedite it for us, we are ready. Okay? Attorney General, did you want to add?
Right Honorable Speaker, I appreciate your guidance, and that is the right way to do it. But if I might add, for purposes of clarity, the bill you are talking about is intended to cure a certain mischief. And you cannot cure that mischief without doing the requisite research and the necessary consultation, so that you bring a bill that will meet the needs for which you have brought it. So my request to Parliament, Right Honorable Speaker, is that you give us a little more time. We conclude our consultations. We shall report to the House.
Okay, thank you. This is one of the issues we are going to follow upon, our honorable colleagues. Next item.
Item number 3 on the order paper, laying of papers 3.1, the Electricity Royalties Regulations 2022.
Honorable Minister for Energy.
at Semuju. Don't make your fun all the time. You make very good statements.
Honourable Minister, my answer deserving statements which I don't understand where they're coming from.
Okay, I
So
oblige,
just
I oblige, sir. Right Honorable Speaker and colleagues, in line with section 119, subsection 1 of the Electricity Act, Cap 145, as amended, the Electricity Regulatory Authority has so far developed 3 regulations which have been published. I now take this opportunity, sir, to lay the following 3 regulations.
now, Honourable Minister, you read the one they call. So we have an order paper, so we must first call. So start with the one as called by the clerk.
Much obliged. I beg to lay the regulation entitled Electricity, that is Royalties Regulations 2022.
Thank you, Honourable Minister. Honourable colleagues, as per section 119 of the Electricity Act, these are just for information purposes. They don't need to be processed by Parliament. Let them be deposited in the library and put on al fresco, our system, for easy access by members.
3.2, the electricity supply of electricity in bulk to specified consumers regulations 2022.
Right Honorable Speaker, following the same act I've already specified, this is number B. This regulation is
No,
called, which I beg
It's
to lay.
Roman number 2 on our order paper. Just to
Yes.
read.
The electricity, supply of electricity in bulk
Yeah.
to specified consumers. Regulations 2022, beg to lay.
Thank you, Honourable Minister. The same is for information purposes. It will be put in our library.
3.3, the electricity independent power transmission regulations 2023.
Honourable Minister.
Right Honorable Speaker, the third in line is the one I have now, which I beg to lay. This is the electricity independent power transmission regulation 2023. I beg to lay.
Thank you. Well done, Honourable Minister. The same is for information purposes. Thank you. Well done, Honourable Minister. Next item.
3.4, regulation of interception of communications regulations 2023.
Honourable Minister, I know you briefed me, but I think you can go on record so that we can give you time.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. As I consulted with you, would like to withdraw this until we have made further consultation and we return here.
Thank you. It is to do with issues of gazettement. So I told the minister to go and regazette so that once they are ready, they bring it here. We follow the career laws. Thank you. Next item.
Item number 4 on the order paper, motion for the adoption of the report of the Committee on Gender, Labor and Social Development on a petition by Erivanson Nabatanzi against Prime Linkages Limited.
Committee Chair for Gender. 15 minutes, enough for the report.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker,
I beg to lay the minutes of the Committee of Gender, Labor and Social Development on the petition of Elvanson Nabatanzi against Prime Linkage Limited. I beg to lay.
Procedure.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Is it procedural right for a report to be laid on the table on the floor of Parliament when in the Ministry of Gender we have more than 3 ministers and none of them is here? Is it procedural right?
Well, it wouldn't be the right thing to do, okay? You say it's not the right thing to do. But you see, Parliament, again, someone can decide to frustrate Parliament by not coming and you don't do work. You're judged on your own volition. There is government side. So I would say, let's receive the report. If we find that the issues require the minister to come here and explain, then the minister can come. But I agree with you, Honorable Chan Judy, that it's not good to find, we have on the order paper your item, and as a ministry, you have around. So, but Honorable Iguda has been here. And for now, I think he talked to the shadow minister to be standing in for him. Okay? Yeah, so he might have talked to the shadow minister. So let's continue. The shadow minister will link up with the colleague.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker.
Procedure, Honorable Chibadia.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, through your office, I think you needed to take a decision on some of these issues. One of the ministers was here. She was around and she was in the lobby. And she knew her item was on the order paper. In a few minutes, as we look around, we can't see her. Maybe your office was notified. So through your office, Right Honorable Speaker, as the person who is seen making these people go through the sieve and enjoy these privileges, we need you to take really an action on this because she has been around.
I haven't, she didn't consult me, or he has didn't consult me, they moved out. But now I assign you, since you had seen her, please bring her for me so that the house can proceed. Okay? So, Honorable Chiwadi, I give you 5 minutes to bring me the minister. Chair, proceed.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, I beg to lay the committee. I beg to lay the report on the Committee of Gender, Labor and Social Development on the petition by Elvanson Nabatanzi against Prime Linkage Limited. I beg to lay. Right Honorable Speaker and members, I take this opportunity to present the report on the Committee of Gender, Labor and Social Development on the petition by Elvanson Nabatanzi against Prime Linkage Limited. I'm sure the report has been uploaded on our iPads. Right Honorable Speaker, the introduction. Right Honorable Speaker and members, this is a report of the Committee on Gender, Labor and Social Development on the petition of Elvanson Nabatanzi against Prime Linkage Limited regarding her daughter Annette Nachigulile, who is the victim, who was taken to Saudi Arabia through labor externalization. The petition was referred to the committee on 26 May 2022 by the Right Honorable Speaker under Rule 36 of the Rules of Procedure of Parliament. Thereafter, similar matters regarding labor externalization were brought to the attention of the committee. The committee has, in accordance with Rule 199.1 of the Rules of Procedure of Parliament, considered the petition and hereby reports. Honorable Speaker, on the issue of background, on 26 May 2022, the Right Honorable Speaker referred a petition by Elvanson Nabatanzi to the Committee on Gender and Social Development. The petitioner's daughter was taken to Saudi Arabia to work as part of the process of labor externalization by Prime Linkages Limited, a company licensed by Ministry of Gender, Labor and Social Development to engage in labor externalization. While in Saudi Arabia, it was alleged that she fought her employer and on the way to police also assaulted a police officer and caused damage to a police car. She was incarcerated as a result. Upon the intervention of the ambassador, she was released, subsequent to which she was housed at the shelter operated by the embassy in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. The petitioner prayed that her daughter be brought back from Saudi Arabia. Currently, Uganda migrant workers in Saudi Arabia are estimated at 195,000, according to the 2022 report by African Institute for Strategy and Policy. Further still, the report indicates that labor externalization contributes 4.5 trillion as revenue to the GDP. Uganda earns an annual average of $600 million from migrant labor to the Middle East, of which the largest chunk comes from Saudi Arabia. This was confirmed by the Minister of Finance, Planning and Economic Development budget speech, financial 22-23 on personal remittances from around the world, which have been a significant part of the economy. They represented about 4% of GDP from 2016 to 2019, significantly higher than the sub-Saharan Africa average of 2.7%. This was due to the global COVID-19 pandemic economic impact, which affected the country's personal remittances inflow that fell to 0.8% of GDP in 2022. 2.1, labor migration. The migration is an integral part of global labor and international development and has been part of the human experience of centuries. The International Labor Operations Organization estimates that international migrant workers number 169 million, with 90 million of them being men and 70 million being women, although international migrant workers constitute nearly 5% of the global workforce. The centrality of international migrant workers to the global economy continues to grow as part of the globalization and the increasing interconnectedness of the world. It is worth of note that whereas labor migration is mostly viewed in the context of south to north, there is significant labor migration taking place in the opposite direction. According to the African Commission, there were an estimate of 14.4 million migrant workers in Africa, 2.2, an increasing population. Part of the reason for the high rates of labor migration out of Uganda is due to an increased population that is also predominantly young. According to Uganda Bureau of Statistics, Uganda's population is approximately 42.9 million, 55% of which is aged below 18 years. The population growth rate is 3.1%, referred to the Household Survey Report 2020-2021. The World Bank notes that the following about Uganda's population.
Can you go to the issues you found?
Okay, let me summarize.
Okay.
The big report is uploaded on the iPad, I'm sure.
The whole report will be captured on the handset by the clerk.
So I go to the no.
You got
No,
page
I
14.
want to. There are issues I want to present to this House, Honorable Speaker. I'm going to pick out. This is a summary, but I'm going to pick out the most important issues that we can discuss about. It's good that you have the report. 2.4 on page 6, labor migration and human rights. Despite the huge benefits noted above, there are numerous problems associated with labor migration. These range from human trafficking to fraud, human rights violation, and the less talked about destruction of family cohesions. The International Organization for Migration notes that while remittances are largely used to improve the lives of dependent families in their home country, this often comes at a risk to the welfare of migrant workers, many of whom experience exploitative working and living conditions that may amount to human trafficking and forced labor. A report of the Ministry of Internal Affairs notes that irregular and unguided labor migration was the most contributing factor for trafficking of Ugandans to foreign countries, and majority of the victims were recruited in the trafficking trap through deceptive means, some of whom were aided with the use of fraudulent travel documents. Then the methodology used, the committee held a meeting with the individuals listed on page 10 and page 11 of the main report. You can visit the report. We also received the memorandum from the Minister of Foreign Affairs and Minister of Health. We also received the report from the Human Rights Commission. We visited Saudi Arabia. The members of the committee visited Saudi Arabia. We also visited Republic of Kenya. Our terms of references, that one you can refer to the main report. Since then our findings, observation, and recommendations. Terms of reference number 1, establish the circumstances under which the petitioner traveled to Saudi Arabia and her present circumstances. The committee established that the victim was externalized and left Uganda under Prime Linkage Limited, a private liability company. The company is licensed to undertake labor externalization by the Ministry of Gender, Labor and Social Development under license number E2012-911 issued on 18th December 2022. She was externalized under Altmal Afraquil Recruitment Office, a recruitment agency in Saudi Arabia. On 29th March, the respondent wrote to Gulf Skills Development Center, one of the training centers approved by Ministry of Gender, to conduct pre-departure training, requesting the victim and 24 other ladies to be trained in fulfillment of the requirements enshrined in Regulation 29 of the Employment Regulation 2021. On 17th, 2021, Gulf Skills Training Center communicated to the PS, Ministry of Gender, Labor and Social Development, indicating that the victim and 8 other ladies had completed their pre-departure training from 30th March to 6th April 2021 and were passed out on 6th April. A copy of the letter is here attached on the Annex A. On 5th May, the PS notified the respondent that the latter's request had been evaluated and found to meet the requirements of the regulations and guidelines, and that the 100 employment opportunities by Atmal Al-Quraq Recruitment Office had been posted and advertised on the ministry website. On 7th September 2022, the PS Ministry of Gender wrote to the respondents company indicating that 7 ladies, including the victim, had been vetted and cleared subject to the respondent's possession of a valid Interpol certificate, which is a requirement under Regulation 23(1)A of the 2021 regulations. She signed her standard employment contract on 29th July 2021, where she was entitled to a monthly payment of 900 Saudi Riyal. The victim signed her contract on 17th October before departing for Saudi Arabia. A copy of the contract is hereby attached Annex B. The petitioner informed the committee that the victim paid 50,000 being registration fees. The visa and air ticket were paid for by her employer as provided for under Clause 10 of the bilateral agreement with the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. According to Ministry of Gender and the respondents, the victim alleged assaulted her employer with a knife, breaking her employer's car, and physically assaulted a police officer. She was subsequently arrested and taken to prison in Najran, Saudi Arabia. This was reported to Ugandan embassy in Riyadh on 21st April. According to Uganda's ambassador to Saudi Arabia, the embassy contacted police and other government agencies to ensure her release and appealed to the employer and police officer to pardon her, which was achieved. The victim was released and sent to Riyadh, a distance of 1,200 kilometers by bus, where she was released and sent to Riyadh, a distance of 120 kilometers by bus, where she was on 26th June and was picked by the embassy from the bus station, weak and hugged. She had been arrested and managed for 6 months at the police station and then transferred to the embassy shelter, where she was held together with 15 other ladies with different issues pending repatriation to Uganda. According to the ambassador, the victim received medical attention while at the shelter pending the process of exit visa. On 17th August 2022, the victim was repatriated after her exit visa was provided. The committee has since interacted with her relatives, according to whom she was experiencing a deterioration in medical health and has been receiving treatment from the National Psychiatric Hospital in Botabika. Observations. The committee made the following observations. Ms. Nachigule Annette was externalized by Prime Linkages Limited, which had a valid license issued by the Minister of Gender. The victim underwent pre-departure training, but this was for 7 days, as opposed to a minimum of 14 days, as provided under the Employment Regulations 2021. which regulations were enforced when the victim was externalized. This constituted a breach of the regulations, but was not red flagged by the Minister of Gender. The respondent company charged the victim 50,000 as registration fees, whereas the regulation 26.1 of the Employment Recruitment Migration Workers Regulations 2021 caps the fees that a recruitment agents may charge an administrative cost of 20,000. The victim was repatriated from the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia by the respondent as provided under the bilateral agreement. The health of the victim deteriorated following her return from Saudi Arabia. However, there is no mechanism for the provision of health and psychosocial support to her on any other returning migrant workers or any other migrant return workers. The committee notes that the victim provided erroneous information which was not signed by her. On the victim's consent form, it was indicated that she had completed primary 4, but the family noted that she had dropped out of school at primary 3, and at the time she was externalized, she was a tailor in Chiembe. Primary linkages had an outstanding case of a one worker called Babiri Salma, who had been recruited and died in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. The family indicated that they had received threats and intimidations from the respondent company because they had approached Parliament under this matter. The Ministry of Gender, Labor and Social Development lacks the capacity to monitor due to understaffing and inadequate resources. Primary linkages was negligent and did not provide the necessary assistance to Ms. Nakagulile and the family until the petition was presented to the Parliament. Recommendations. The committee recommends that the Ministry of Gender, Labor and Social Development should always ensure that strict implementation of the existing laws regarding labor externalization, including the period of pre-departure orientation, fees charged by recruitment camp agencies. Put in place a reception center to check for any medical issue on the returnees and to offer medical treatment, psychosocial support, advise on appropriate investment plans and skills and knowledge transfers for migrant workers on return. Clause 10 of the standard employment contract requires the employer to bear all expenses on medical treatment. Thus, primary linkage should cater for Ms. Nakagulile's welfare and medical expenses. Term of reference number 2, examine the process of labor export in Uganda and the labor externalization industry. The process of labor export can be categorized in two broad categories, where the destination of migrant workers is a country with which Uganda has an existing bilateral labor agreement. For example, with the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, and where a bilateral labor agreement is non-existent. Who has switched off?
Honorable member, kindly try to conclude this.
Let me try to conclude. Let me go. No, someone has, Honorable Speaker, I need your guidance.
No, we are.
I need your guidance, Honorable
Speaker.
We are
welcoming Honorable Chibadia, who has brought our minister. Well done, Honorable. So you can see you are complaining when you're the one who knew where she was. So, yeah, Honorable, most of these issues are issues which we have tackled on several occasions and widely. Okay, so that's why I wanted us to focus on the issues of the ready, which you have reported on, but most of the others are policy related, market related. So you can just summarize on your recommendation. Then we shall have the whole report on the answer. Yes, sir.
Mr. Speaker, and many of us relied on the soft copy to follow that bit. So I request if they can put on our forum, director of the forum for Parliament, and then they cast it throughout, it can be better for us. Thank you.
Okay.
Let me go to the recommendation, right, Honorable Speakers, guided by you.
We gave you iPads. So, and I'm seeing the colleagues are opening, they are accessing, okay? Yeah.
Honorable Speaker, let me go to the recommendations as guided by you. Recommendations from the committee. The Minister of East African Affairs in the community should harmonize labor laws and regulations that concern migrant workers and negotiate as one voice for the East African community in order to have a strong bargaining position. The Ministry Committee under Labor, which is a framework of the East African community, should realign labor issues for migrant workers. Government should deploy labor attaches and legal officers at the Ugandan mission in Abu Dhabi, Riyadh, and Doha. Strengthen internal and external monitoring of Ugandan migrant workers.
Procedure from Honorable Nzima.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I've been listening to the report. Most times when petitions are presented, the petitions come with specific prayers. And these specific prayers are what are supposed to be addressed and presented. That on prayer number 1, this is the plea of the petitioner. And this is what the committee came up with. But when I look at this, when I look at this report, one who tries to look at what was the problem. What are the problems this person wants the parliament to address? So I thought those could be the issues we should, but when you look at the recommendations and the rest, there seem to be general issues which have always been presented here. So I was wondering what is specific to this lady that parliament is supposed to address. So I don't know whether we're really proceeding correctly.
And that's what I was trying to guide the chair on, because the prayer was clearly specific on page 4, where the petitioner prayed that her daughter be brought back from Saudi Arabia. Okay? So we need to, but now I've seen it's really, really wide going, way beyond. I know these are salient issues that touch on what the committee has been handling. Chair, I think let's conclude, we focus on what was the prayer of the petitioner.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker.
Yeah.
Right Honorable Speaker, the committee received it's true the committee received a petition, and we made our findings, but our report entails everything about labor externalization. So the girl was brought back, and she's here. Thank you so much. I beg that the House adopts the report. Thank you so much, Right Honorable Speaker.
Yeah. Now, honorable colleagues, when you read the issues in the report, they are very general but salient issues. I think the committee could say of packaging them so that we handle them, not under this petition, okay, but through their sector committee reports and all that, okay? Honorable Minister.
Honorable Prime Minister, Right Honorable Speaker, the Honorable Chair really has very good recommendations and a conclusion. If she is allowed, I think she would read the recommendations and the conclusion.
You see, Honorable Minister, Parliament works through rules of procedure. The moment the rules are telling you how you process petition, you respond to prayers in the petition. Okay? Then other ancillary issues which you find, they can't be this big, because these are too many. The report, more than 90% of the report is not on issues which the petitioner prayed for. Meaning you had another assignment, you added it on. Honorable Samuju?
Mr. Speaker, thank you very much. I don't know which number is this report about this subject matter. Every parliament has discussed this issue. I have a feeling we tend to be emotional and fail to address the issue that we are supposed to address. People who go to work as maids, they don't go to work in companies. There are no standards in homes, including ours. You are treated according to the temper, the temperament, or the conduct of a particular home where you have gone. I think Parliament is devoting too much time discussing emotionally about this issue. Until we have stopped the vulnerabilities, forcing girls to go and work as maids, there cannot be standards, including the recruitment agents. You are just blaming them for no reason. Each home treats people differently. There are those who are going to abuse them. There are those who are going to beat them. I want to make the same argument I made when we were complaining that South Sudan was chasing borders. The last time we had the parliamentary games in South Sudan, we interacted with the Ugandan embassy. The embassy told us there is more than 1 million Ugandans in South Sudan that has just emerged out of war. More than 1 million. Until we've dealt with the real issues that forcing people to go and work as maids, what they go through are not issues that you can solve as a parliament. Maybe the preliminary issues, Mr. Speaker, that we can deal with. And I'm now speaking in general terms.
Can we have the attention of the minister?
The preliminary issues that we can deal with is the quick evacuation. And I want to propose, Mr. Speaker, because you remember when the Honorable Janet Mukwaya brought a report here about the same subject matter. She told us that year when government put a ban, and MPs were emotional here, and government put a ban. When there was a ban, 40,000 girls arrived in Oman. When there was a ban, 40,000 girls arrived in Oman. So the proposal I want to make, Mr. Speaker, let us be present in these areas where they are. We have no embassy, not even a consulate in Oman. Saudi Arabia is such a vast country. Girls who are abused in Riyadh, in Jeddah, it will take them 12 hours on a bus to go to Riyadh. Now that the amount of money we are receiving from these girls is as the figures given in this report by the Committee on Gender. Because this money, if you look at the economy, it is more than the money we get from all the crops exported, including coffee. Let's put, instead of quarreling with the recruitment agencies, let's put a fund for quick evacuation, and let's put some small offices in all these big cities where they go and work, and then deal with the problems as they emerge. But I can tell you can be as emotional as the 9th Parliament. What it did was to say, ban, no going. When there was a ban, 40,000 arrived in Oman. In Ethiopia, there was even a demonstration. The government put a ban, and the girls went on the street, we want to go, because there are no jobs. So we should stop dealing with this matter in an emotional way. Let's try to help whoever gets into trouble, because the report says you have nearly 200,000 girls in Saudi Arabia. So if 1 or 20 of them were abused, you deal with the abuses. Otherwise, just imagine a day when Saudi Arabia says 200 girls go back to Uganda. Oman says that's this thing. Dubai, you're going to be in a crisis.
Thank you. Honorable Chair, you wanted to conclude with something?
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. And thank you, Right Honorable Semuju. Right Honorable. Horse. Thank you, Honorable Semuju. Honorable Speaker, we have good recommendations here. I request that I read them out. There are few.
Please do, but.
Thank you so much. Just in a few minutes.
Listen, let me guide you. You are allowed to be guided. Okay? Parliament works through rules. Petitions, you limit yourself to the prayers of the petitioner. You don't go on a wild goose chase to look for issues that affect the whole sector. And you say it's our chance to report, and you bring the issues. But if you feel as chair that these are very pertinent and quick recommendations, please read them so that we move quickly. The recommendation, let's allow her to present this recommendation. Because she has put in a lot of effort Also, a colleague feels bad. Yeah? Putting in a lot of effort and you.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Our recommendations as the committee, the Ministry of Trade and Cooperatives and the Ministry of Gender, Labor and Social Development should set up a cottage industry to skill and absorb the young people that would be migrated. Government should set up the curriculum and institutionalize domestic worker and its training under the Directorate of Industrial Training with short courses and domestic workers appropriate to their job. The 5 provinces of Saudi Arabia should have 5 coordinators, each following up the workers in a given province. The delegation noted that it was more cost-effective for Uganda to have an attaché than to recruit local workers who cannot be supervised. The Welfare Department of Ministry of Gender should ensure that the children of the workers remain in safe custody before the worker is allowed to migrate. A social impact assessment on children dependents and the family spouses of that work should be carried out. Saudi Arabia should allow Ugandans to be qualified to offer translators in Saudi Arabia. The Ugandan mission in Saudi Arabia should have a passport collection center. NILA should facilitate immigration services at the Uganda mission in Riyadh like it does in other countries. The system of sanctions, rewards, and punishments in the labor externalization sector should be strengthened for the employer and employee and recruitment companies who could be breach of their contractual obligations. The Minister of Internal Affairs should clearly define trafficking in person, export of labor, and externalization of labor in all the frameworks. A joint training curriculum for migrant workers from East Africa should be considered. Culture, religion, and Arabic language should be part of the pre-boarding training for migrant workers. Government should enhance the skills and knowledge acquired by migrant workers upon their return. Workers whose job description changes from the original offer of being a domestic worker in Saudi Arabia should have their remunerations increased. In conclusion, Right Honorable Speaker and honorable members, the committee strongly states as follows. It is imperative to ensure that there is safe and orderly migration that corresponds to the Sustainable Development Goals. 87 calls upon the countries to eradicate forceful labor, end modern slavery and human trafficking, and secure the prohibition and the elimination of the worst forms of child labor worldwide. Global 8.8 and 10.7 and also crucial regarding the protection of labor rights and promotion of safe and secure working environments of all workers, including migrant workers, as well as the facilitation of orderly, safe and responsible migration and mobility of people. Chapter 4 of the Constitution, Livingstone Call for Action and African Union Declaration requires that government provides for social protection. It is also important to continue the efforts of creating jobs and opportunities for especially young people who are skilled. Right Honorable Speaker and honorable members, I beg to move that a report of the committee is adopted. Thank you so much, Right Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Chair, for the good job. Honorable Minister, just the simplest question is, why should these matters be coming to Parliament? I know you have a desk, you do what, but why is the public petitioning Parliament instead of coming to your ministry to sort out these matters quickly? So the prayer was simple, return my daughter. Why should it be Parliament we spend resources sending committees on?
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I think we receive those petitions almost on a daily basis, Right Honorable, and all those the petitions that come to our ministry, we make sure that we address them. And not necessarily in the docket of labor, any office they go to, we are able to address these petitions. Maybe this one was somebody's voter and thought wise that maybe the other one can go to Parliament first and to be addressed. And Right Honorable Speaker, of course, the petition I expected to get the prayers, which we are ready to work on as a ministry, and we thank God that the girl came. And for the recommendations that they have made, Right Honorable Speaker, we are willing to work on them, and we are not seated. As we speak, we have been fighting very hard with Ministry of Finance, and finally it has given us money to put labor attaches in these areas to help these girls who are that side. And I think this is an achievement. And secondly, they have also given us money where we have created an app, which app will be given to each girl that is going outside. In case you get a problem, Even if you cannot talk, we shall know that you are located in this area and there is trouble. And then the labor churches can move very fast to this home to save the life of our girls. Right, Honorable, thank you.
Thank you. Honorable colleagues, the prayer was one. The prayer was one, return my daughter. The daughter came back. I now put a question that the report of the Committee on Gender, Labor and Social Development on a petition by Evans and Nabatans against prime linkages limited be adopted. Those in favor say aye and the counter nay. The ayes have it. Colleagues, even if you are to have a debate, it should be within the line of a prayer. Someone said, return my daughter. She came. Honorable Semuju has just told you from 9th Parliament, we have been debating all these issues. So what is very important is the progress being made. When the sectors are processing the ministerial policy statements to do with the sectors, they should pick out on these recommendations and we ensure they are done. Next item.
Item number 5 on the order paper, motion for the adoption of the report of the Committee on Finance, Planning and Economic Development on unspent balances and the position of the Uganda Consolidated Fund as at the end of 30th June 2023.
Thank you, Chair. Before you present the report, there's an issue which the leader of opposition.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable, I want to appreciate the submission made by the Minister. It's been an update to the House. But it's important we have a proper follow-up, also for accountability, because it's not the first time that this issue comes through and then promises are made. This very week, Right Honorable Speaker, there's been a trending hashtag on social media, Labor Export Exhibition UG. And for those who are Twitter friendly, find time, go there, you'll see harrowing stories of girls that have gone through grotesque ordeals. Some eventually made it back to the country, going through treatment now and so on. It will just give you a picture of what's happening. And part of the reason is, number one, we've not had bilateral agreements with most of these countries. We recently renewed the one we did have with Saudi Arabia. The one with UAE was signed, an MOU, but it's not been legalized yet. And we don't have for others. That's a problem, Madam Minister, that needs to be fixed. Number two, again, there's been a challenge of labor attaches not existing in these countries. You have promised that that's being worked on. Right Honorable Speaker, I think that we need to compel to the Minister to be accountable to this House. If you're saying that you are in the process of deploying labor attaches, to which countries, and what's the time frame within which this is being done? Because the promise can be made here, and then next year we return to the same issue because of the cries of these girls. So I think the Minister needs to give us a proper update. These labor attaches, to which countries? When are they reporting for duty? That way these girls in these countries get to know, if I have a problem, I know where to run. The Minister has also talked about an app. That's okay, we are advancing technologically. There's a challenge though. When these girls report to these countries, their phones are confiscated, their travel documents are confiscated. They have no passport, they have no ID, and they have no phone. They are literally slaves. So now that you're talking about an app, how are they meant to access it? We need to be a lot more practical about these issues. An app is good for those that eventually can access, but let's not limit ourselves to that because they don't have access to phones. Can we expedite the question of the labor attaches? Because there's money available. These companies that are licensed, about 305 of them, they are paying. And of course, there's a myriad of those that are not licensed. Our hope is that the Minister can track them down and take action. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, honorable colleagues, I don't want to reopen this matter. Okay, it's a matter we concluded on. Next item. Procedure.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. As a matter of procedure, sir, I pray that you give guidance on the effect of the recommendations that were given there. While you're saying the prayer was bring the girl back, but there are recommendations. For example, the report has said that the company was negligent. and they should go and treat the girl. What's the effect of the such recommendations that are there by us adopting the report? We've not discussed whether they indeed negligent or not. Was it their responsibility to treat the girl or not? Now we have adopted wholesome. What's the effect of such recommendations?
Thank you. Recommendations which are way beyond, these are recommendations to the minister. The minister goes and implements the recommendations. In the process, the minister will say, no, this one was not viable. This one was right. This one I can do. This one I can't do. Okay? Because we can't now come and say, this report is half. This is what? But it's a running curve. It's a running curve. What I would encourage, and this also comes to issues which the leader of opposition has raised. These are issues which the sectoral committee should look at in terms of their oversight activity, but also when they are budgeting. A very good example, when they are processing the ministerial policy statements, this issue of deployment of those officers is one of the issues that should come out strongly to see whether it is funded, because money might be collected from those people for licenses, but it's not used for this purpose. Okay? So these are issues you capture under ministerial policy statement. The problem was the prayer which was made. It was so limited and the way it was captured. So the moment we start going outside the prayer, but if the petitioner says, did I ask you about those issues? Okay? So let's remain within the limits of the, we are going to open this issue. Let's go, yeah. Let's chair finance, the item they had called.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. The report is ready, and I hereby lay the original report, the minutes of the meetings with the committee, and the tenants' communications with the interactions the committee had. I hereby lay. Right Honorable Speaker, allow me to read the report of the Committee on Finance, Planning and Economic Development on unspent balances and the position of the Uganda Consolidated Fund as at the end of year 30th June 2023. Right Honorable Speaker and colleagues, during the plenary sitting of the Thursday, 20th July 2023, the Right Honorable Speaker in her communications raised concerns pertaining to unspent balances by the end of the financial year 2022-23. And subsequently, the Committee on Finance, Planning and Economic Development was directed to undertake an inquiry into the unspent balances and the position of the Consolidated Fund as at 30th June 2023. And the committee undertook the assignment as required and hereby reports. In terms of reference, the committee established the following terms of reference for the assignment. One, to study the budget cycle, budget execution process. B, to establish the treatment of unspent cash balances, warrants issued to spending agencies, and how warrants related to actual spending. And study the position of the Consolidated Fund as of 30th June 2023, and also study the treatment of certificates of completed works and invoices when they are not honored by the Treasury at the end of the financial year in question. The methodology was as below. And Right Honorable Speaker, allow me to summarize in this of time. The committee further reviewed the following literature: the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda, the Public Finance Management Act 2023, and the National Development Plan 3, and the Government of Uganda Assets Accounting Policy and Guidelines 2023. Key stakeholders and their responsibilities in the treatment of unspent balances on the consolidated annual accounts of government. Right Honorable Speaker, the key stakeholders in the treatment of unspent balances at the time of the expiry of the Appropriation Act include the following: ministries, departments, and agencies, and section 17(1) and 2, subsection 1 and 2 of the PFMA 2015 is to the effect that every appropriation of the Parliament shall expire and cease to have any effect at the closure of the financial year for which it is made. And further, that the vote which does not spend money that was appropriated to it shall, at the closure of the financial year, repay or refund the money to the consolidated fund. In section 17, subsection 3, further states that a vote that repays money under subsection 2 shall revise its annual work plan, procurement plan, recruitment plan to take into account the unspended money, and the minister responsible for the vote shall submit as part of the budget for the preceding year and revise the work plan, procurement plan, and recruitment plan to the minister. The Accountant General, according to section 46 of the PFMA, provides for responsibility of the Accountant General, among which is the compilation and management of the accounts of votes and the custody and safety of public money, and as well as the resource of government. In section 52, subsection 1A and B of the PFMA, further enjoins the Accountant General